Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producers here. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great.
What's wrong? You're looking over
Nothing,
at Tom
because
like...
if I say I'm fine or I'm okay, then you think something's wrong,
No,
so I
no,
have to
no,
say
I
that I'm
don't-
great.
No, you don't have to say you're great. If you just say, I'm fine, I'll be like, okay, moving
No,
on.
you won't, though.
You're lying. You're
You'll
not
say,
great.
What's
You're
wrong?
not. What's
I know
wrong?
that.
What's happening?
You said what's wrong just now, and I said it's great.
Well, Tom said what's wrong. Not me, really. It's more him. He's concerned about you.
Kyle Eagles here. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
So,
Thanks for always being here, man. We appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate having me, and thanks to Chris Crespo for making this happen. too.
Crespo?
So Kyle,
Yes.
what's been going on with you?
A lot. I haven't seen you guys in a couple of years. Actually, I don't think it's been
Yeah,
a while.
yeah.
Yeah, since the world shut
Some
down.
of the COVID years.
Yeah, a little bit grayer, a little bit blinder. As you can see, I'm wearing glasses.
You look good, man.
Thanks. You guys look great too.
Lean and healthy. Yeah, we've lost some weight. It looks like you're muscly and like I like your style. I think that you and I, Tom, fail in business because we don't dress proper like our friend Kyle.
I don't have a studio like you guys do. I'm still
whatever,
doing an underground
Kyle,
podcast.
whatever you're selling, I'm buying because I'm
Yeah.
like, this guy's got the goods.
Yeah, he walks out. I'm like, what is this? He's either a musician, a professor. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever you do, this guy F's. Am I right? It's that.
We dress like
Bums.
sloppy.
I've got on joggers for
Yeah,
Christ's
yeah,
sake
yeah,
and
yeah.
a Run the Jewels t-shirt.
Yeah.
Hey, Run the Jewels is cool, man.
They are cool, but like I dress like a teen boy. I dress like I dress like any person that plays Xbox in their basement is what I wear.
You're not an adult.
Yeah, I dress like a video game kid.
Yeah.
Which is embarrassing at 40. I'm going to be 46 on Sunday.
Yeah.
46 on Sunday, I dress like a child. I got to change my ways. Yeah, I know. Thank you. I deserve every minute of that.
Yeah.
I got to be a little more like Kyle Eagle.
Kyle looks like an adult.
He does.
He does.
He's serious.
It's attractive, man. Like, I'm not blowing
Smart.
smoke either.
He looks
I'm
like he
serious.
has his S together.
I'm serious when I say if I were a woman or a gay man, all into you, man. I'd be like, this guy's got it to get smells good,
Got a
looks
blazer,
good.
little
blazer,
pocket
he's
chief.
got pocket square. Yeah, he's.
Yeah.
I look like crap.
Yeah. If you
Like crap.
if you lined us up and asked who is the richest, they're pointing at Kyle.
Oh, yeah,
all day
without
long.
a doubt.
All day long.
They should point at me.
No,
but,
you just got to know how to go to the sale rack. You have to know that.
No, you know what
No,
you do.
you're put together.
Yeah.
That's what I never, and it will never.
Put
I'm already.
together. You don't know how to put together anything.
No, I know, and I'll never even achieve the term "put together" in my life.
You
It's
think you're
already
going to
done.
catch Kyle in flip-flops?
No,
No, it's
my
already
God.
done.
He likes his feet to be clean.
It's
He's
already
not walking
done.
these city streets and getting doo-doo and pee-pee all over him.
And I can't just start dressing like Kyle because people will see right
Oh,
through it.
they'll clown you.
Yeah, they'll think it's Halloween or something.
Yeah.
You know,
You know
seriously.
what? You'd be a,
Is it April Fool's
You'd
Day?
be a
Yeah.
try-hard Kyle. You'd
Yeah.
be a try-hard Kyle.
Because people have seen me
You
as a
got the
bum.
hair now.
You do have the Kyle hair.
The hair,
We
yeah,
got
but
to
that's
work on everything else.
Yeah, but yeah.
But from like the top of your forehead down, oh, it's all crap. It's all crap.
There's that alcoholic redness in the
Yeah.
middle.
Your hair is, I'll
And
give
my
you that. Your
teeth are
hair.
yellow.
Oh my, I wasn't going to say anything.
I was just Maisie tells me in the pool.
Yeah, you know,
What did she say?
Did she
She's
really
like,
say
why
that?
are your teeth yellow?
She
yeah,
said that?
Oh yeah, she
Oh
told me.
my God.
She
I
both-
didn't know that. That's the first I've heard of that. My daughter said your
I
teeth
can't
were
hang
yellow.
out with your kids, man.
Yeah,
They're
But I'm
mean.
like, it's the
Not
bright.
with your teeth. You get them whitened, you can hang out with
But I'm
Maisie,
like the water and the way, like I'm older.
Oh,
Maisie.
blame
I'm
the
trying to
water.
tell my daughter. Did you explain
I'm
to her
trying.
the
I'm like, your teeth are white. You're new.
Yeah, she doesn't eat either.
Yeah.
She never eats.
And I've it was coffee and
I
I
apologize.
did smoke for a while.
I apologize that my daughter bullied you in
I'm
your
like-
pool.
Yeah. I'm like, sometimes I fall asleep. It really is called passing out. My brain. Anyway.
You notice if you have all your hair, you don't have all your teeth. And if you have all your teeth, you don't have. I
Yep.
notice a lot like I never brush my teeth and don't have any cavities, and they're bald. Like I got all my hair and I brush floss like a fiend,
Yeah.
and they just keep
Well,
coming out.
It's too hard to take care of both, Kyle. I mean, what do you
much.
expect?
There's a balance. You know?
Yeah. Like I know people that have like nighttime routines. My buddy Logic Man Andy has this, where he has
Andrea
this.
has a nighttime routine. She's lotioning. And
Yeah.
she's-
He's got this whole thing where he does these meticulous tasks where he's doing something with his hair and his face and the cream
Yeah.
and his teeth
I'm
and the
lucky
sonic
if
hair.
I'm
and
lucky if
the
I
picks.
brush. I'm lucky if I brush.
That's all. Yeah, the water picks. Like people get into water picks.
Yeah.
Like you're doing a cleaning every night. And then you're
Well,
putting
like,
on socks
and
and
then there's
lotion.
things my wife has to do. And Kyle's got something to talk about, I
Sorry,
promise, and
man.
we'll
Yeah.
get to it. But my wife does things like she has to take her contacts out, switch them, put them in the thing, wash her eyes out, take a shower, wash her hair, dry her hair, straighten her hair, lotion her face, different lotion for body, right?
Yeah.
The lotion, all that. Shave her
Gloves,
legs, shave
feet.
everything else. Yeah,
Yeah.
put on the hands. You put the lotion on your hands, and you put on the protective gloves that keep your hands moist all night.
No,
You
no.
do the same to your feet. I'm not doing any of that.
No.
I'm just dying. I'm just
yeah.
lying here dying.
For
lying
years,
and dying.
I just fell asleep in the clothes I wore.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
fell.
Why do you think
yeah.
I'm wearing joggers today?
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
what I had on last night. These are my pajamas.
And then I'd wake up and then just leave. Anyway, sorry, Kyle.
So, Kyle,
what have you been up to?
did
Kyle?
you-
You already asked.
Oh,
Kyle,
okay. He didn't tell us. I just told you.
Well, there is a scandal, right? Let's just say
Yeah.
there is a controversy in our midst. There's a controversy within our city. And did you find this out, or like how did we get to a point where you are now kind of like fleshing out the details of this scandal?
All right. So, do you guys know we're talking about the Basquiat scandal, right? You guys
You
heard
gotta
about
tell
it?
me about
Yeah.
this.
Okay. So, Orlando Museum of Art has this Basquiat exhibit, and it's supposed to be these unseen works that were in a storage unit by a TV writer, Thaddeus Mumford, discovered about a decade ago, and the writer Mumford apparently was not aware of the value, and blah 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 blah.
But his sons knew.
They bought him from him, this, that, and the other. And it's a story that's not outside the world of believability. But then the onion got peeled back, and you see that there's all these discrepancies that have been going back a year before the show opened. And I wrote about it for the Weekly in praise of it, and then I felt like an idiot, obviously, when because the same day my piece came out with the Weekly, the New York Times dropped a piece saying, check this out. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
cool.
let's take a closer look here.
If you
Well,
love
how are you
Kyle
supposed to
Eagle,
know
you'll
Kyle?
love the Times.
You know.
And who is Basquiat?
So Basquiat is I would say definitely a blue chip artist. By that I mean his work sells for an exorbitant amount of money. He was the first artist of color to really be successful in his lifetime. I mean, in his lifetime, he made money. Controversial, very young. Certainly, he was a part of the hip hop age. I would say.
Okay.
And the Mumford connection made for a good cover because Mumford was also a good writer. And that's I knew who he was because I'm a geek like that. I do a lot of reading. Mumford wrote a lot of TV for MASH, Electric Company, Johnny Carson, Roots, and so it made a pretty good story. But it seems to be all fabricated. And the proof is in the pudding, a lot like with the paintings that have the FedEx logo on the back and also on the front of them.
Yeah.
There's a FedEx logo there that dates to the 1990s. Basquiat died in the 80s. So unless they brought him back from the dead to paint this, that's, interesting.
Hold on, there's a FedEx logo on the front?
Well, a lot of the art is like.
Well, how did no one see that one?
How would you describe the art? It's like it's kind of unconventional. Like
It's expressive,
Yeah.
graffiti stuff, and whatnot, graffiti.
It's considered neo-expressionism.
okay, yeah. I didn't want to like classify it wrong because
You
I
know.
know people get really upset when you do that.
And it's even in the catalog. I mean, it's one of these things like, wow, there's not a lot of effort made to hide this. In fact, I will say, this catalog was given to me by Pierce O'Donnell, who's one of the owners of the work. He walked right over and gave it to me. And I was like, wow. And it's interesting because it looks like a lot of people at the museum are really going to end up ruining their careers for something as foolish as putting on a forged exhibit at the museum. And I'm saying this in my own opinion.
Right. So the controversy here is, just to boil it down for you and me and everybody else listening, is that we have this Basquiat. Am I saying that
Yeah.
correct? We have this, this great showing here in Orlando. But the problem with it is that
They're fake.
they're not real pieces of art.
So-
and the controversy isn't necessarily that they're fake. The controversy to me would be that this is fake, and then you're putting it on
Exactly.
as if it's authentic.
Exactly. And
That's the problem.
and it's caused a lot of uproar. It makes us look like
Podunk.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Peckerwoods, I like to say.
That is an underused adjective. Write
I
that down.
agree.
Write down Peckerwood.
So Kyle, explain to me the business, because I'm ignorant to the museum business. But I would imagine
It's big business.
you, if you have a collection of some sort, do you rent it? So the person that owns the collection, do you rent it to the museum so they can display it and they can make money, and then hopefully the museum makes more money than it costs for the rent of the displays? How does that work when someone does like a piece like this, or offers it to a local museum?
Sure, that can happen. You perhaps you purchase or you rent, so to speak, an exhibit that's already put together from another curator, another curatorial service, or people who donate work on loan. Like, say you a collection of, say, Basquiat's. I want to put this on loan to the museum. You get tax write-offs for that. That's one reason why people with a lot of money buy expensive work, because you get good tax breaks.
Okay, because I'm trying to, anytime there's any sort of scam going on, I always try to look at what the intent of it is, or who's making the money, or who's scamming who.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if, for instance, I had a bunch of fake Basquiat's, right? Would it be the person that had the fakes trying to scam the museum so that the museum pays them so that they can use the fakes, and that's why the scam happened? Or is it a deeper, hey, we know these are... no,
well, that's what the investigation is.
I think that's what they're trying to get to the bottom of it. It's because it is one thing of, okay, there's different... You could go different ways with this. You could be like, we didn't know, and we thought they were, and here they are, and we're putting them on, and oh, whoops. Or it could be, yeah, we knew... Let's put them on. Let's do the thing. Nobody knows. Here it is.
All right. So let me see if I can break this down here. Okay. So.
And this is all alleged, by the way.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, I got
the
catalog.
FedEx.
You want to see it?
Right. No, I know what you mean.
I just don't know the detail. Then Mo's like, "You idiot! They're suing you." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I didn't even know there was a museum.
I didn't know. I didn't know no Basquiat.
I can't even spell museum."
Yeah.
Louis Anderson, Louis Armstrong, Zach Galifianakis baskets.
But I learned just because you're stupid doesn't mean you're innocent.
That's true.
That's
Most of the time it means you're guilty.
I know.
Most of the time they are guilty.
I should be innocent just because he doesn't know nothing.
Let's see if Kyle can boil this down.
Okay, so the thing is, so you got this work in which this exhibit has been shopped around to various other galleries, museums, and none of them took it. For the same reason as it just doesn't look right. Something smells in Denmark. And so this museum took the bait, so to speak. And the thing is, once you get this kind of work in a museum, it legitimizes it. Then it's all of a sudden...
Could be worth more, yeah.
Worth more.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, it's just supposed to travel to another museum in Italy, I believe Florence, which would further legitimize it. The goal is the owners want to sell it at an estimated value of $100 to $200 million.
Right.
Which, hopefully, what we want to do, I think all of us in the kind of creative community here, is make sure it doesn't travel. Put the kibosh on it. But so there's been a long kind of a web of creating this backstory to legitimize it, which is, as I said earlier, you peel away the onion. It's not a pretty picture. The people who are behind it, who own the work, have a lifelong career of criminal activity.
that doesn't help them.
No. I mean, and really shady stuff. And you can just Google their names, and so,
right off the bat, if you show me someone's Facebook, I can tell if they're a scammer or not. That's all
we are pretty damn good at that.
Just by their profile pic, nothing else.
Yeah, I can do it just by looking at your face, or your profile pic, or lack thereof, because you may not even have one.
Yeah.
So what is the way out? I mean, I don't want to try to jump to the conclusion or the ending quickly. Why are we not seeing a case of let's get this thing the hell out of here?
What's the museums? What are they saying?
Okay, so when the New York Times article came out, there was a big double down to defend it amongst a lot of people, polarized. One of the questions that's I think that's concerning is how much of this money was spent to put this together. Public money, how much was that involved?
Right.
What it does to the reputation of the town, and also, too, the other side of it seems to defend it rather than admit to it being, possible forgeries. And the evidence proves the latter.
I mean, do they say like, hey, look at the FedEx sticker? Do they have a explanation?
I usually am like a very simple person. Like when you and I are handling problems, I'll address you.
Yeah.
When we're handling problems, this came up last week. Normally the answer is as simple as, oh yeah, look at the FedEx thing. The date's wrong. All right, get this thing the hell out of here. We're done. You know, it's a very simple like.
Or your explanation of why this is here, and then
Right.
they say that, and it's like, okay, well, maybe it's more complicated.
Yeah, why?
Like, I don't know.
Why is there no? Yeah.
So there is. So they double down on it and they make these kind of tone deaf statements about like, we did that we feel secure in the provenance. The museum's director Aaron DeGroff had said make one statement. It's not the museum's job to
Verify. Yeah.
authenticate, and it is. Your
Yeah, I
job.
was
Hold
gonna
on,
say,
the
isn't that
guy-
your only job?
No, it is your job.
Yeah.
The old man that looks like Dirty Jim from Pawn Stars calls in an expert if he doesn't know
Right.
this is an old
Yeah,
George
it is your
Washington.
job.
Yeah, it'd be like if
Musket.
somebody at the Smithsonian or something. Like, I'm like, that is not
Yeah,
my
they
job
check
to
the
make sure these
receipts
things
here.
are. I know that looks like a astronaut suit, but I don't know. Could be anything.
But even in like what I'm saying, even in like the public knows that show Pawn Stars, even though it's fake, I know that. But they bring in experts
Sure.
from that
To vet it.
to vet the actual
So what's
thing.
the clap back on the museum saying it's not her job? What are people saying to that?
Oh, well, first off, again, you'd have to, so the bunch of remarks that were made and that they were saying, this is the case of New York picking on a smaller city, which is not true because the evidence shows that this is, there's a lot of questionable stuff here, and at least two of these pieces are definitely fake with the FedEx logo on them. No doubt about it.
Oh, those New Yorkers are laughing
yeah,
at us.
well, they
They're like,
always
look
laugh
at the
at us,
Florida
you know?
idiot.
Yeah, but they always move here, though. I think we're the sixth borough of New York.
Well, our weather's great, but our art is fake. I think that's the way the rhyme goes. Weather's great, art is fake.
I think it should be a bumper sticker.
Yeah, I mean, we could do it if it helps to raise money to
Yeah.
get legitimate art in Orlando, because this is a bummer. For those of us that actually like to think that we are growing in the right ways, especially in the art community.
That's exactly-
This sounds like it's stalling us for years.
That's exactly what it is. And there are so you have remarks being made about like stuff. The museum has made remarks about like we feel this exhibit falls in line with our mission statement, which I'm like, that's not the answer to the question.
Right.
Was it the fleece people? The exhibit's supposed to be up until next year. It's coming down this month, and they're explaining, the owners are going to move it, exhibit it, and travel it to Italy, which hopefully it won't. Hopefully there'll be such a dust storm kicked up that no one's going to want to touch this. It certainly is an insult, too, to a lot of people who do due diligence and try to bring things that are interesting, progressive. Because I think what we have here, and I think, you guys grew up here, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, DeLand, so
Okay.
sort of Miami, but
Oh,
we've
yeah,
been
yeah.
here for, all of us have been, well, you grew up here.
O-Town, baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's the only one that but yes. Yeah.
Okay, so when you say that there's still a problem in a growing city like ours, like a medium market city, that you have the powers that be haven't really grown with the majority of the people around. You see they kind of become bench warmers. They know they're bench
Oh, yeah.
warmers. They don't like it, and they know people think they're a bench warmer. But when you get the opportunity to get off the bench, they usually drop the ball.
Oh, yeah.
And instead of
Like when we were talking to Brendan about downtown, how they're like doing nothing with it.
Oh, well,
They're just being complacent with how it is
well-
and not trying to like freshen the culture.
And
in
I
the city.
think I think Brendan O'Connor from
Bungalower,
Bungalower in the Bus or Bungalower, he was basically saying, we went through COVID, we had all these flash in the pan, like sort of come and go bars that had occupied space, and COVID sort of vetted it, to use that word again, and made it so there's area down there for people to do things with. There's great, real estate down there, and they're literally doing nothing with it. I mean, it's just
So
kind of like we do
Kyle.
always sort of drop the ball.
Drop the
on
ball.
things.
What's crazy to me is that now the New York Times article, I'm sure it goes more in depth into how or all the evidence that shows that they are fake. But there's got to be a Basquiat expert. I mean, with
What about
every
the family? What are they saying?
So let's go to that. Well, going back to the scandal, quick, I want to say something too. Is that there is a lot of people saying why wasn't anything being said or done about this in the locale? And I want to say there has been. Us at the Weekly, and I'm just a contributor. I'm a freelance writer, but our editors Jessica and Matt we have been working for months getting information, how we're going to put this together, how we're going to talk about this. And we got scooped again by the New York Times. But we've been getting information up to the minute. In fact, when I was driving here, I was getting more info from some board members that are coming forward. I'll get into that in a moment. Yes, there's a lot of fabrication. In fact, this catalog is no longer for sale online. But one of the foremost authorities on Basquiat, Jordana Moore-Segese, I might be saying her name wrong, and I apologize, was said to have authenticated these works along with Diego Cortez, a close associate of Basquiat, who passed away in 2021. So whether he did or did not, you can't tell.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's all, and so luckily for us, Segese's legal team reached out to us. They found out we were doing a follow-up and were concerned about how she was represented originally. And we printed a portion of the statement that we're given. It's in the article. It's online, OrlandoWeekly.com. You'll see it. And that it was her involvement was misrepresented completely, fabricated, tweaked to the owner's own what was good for them. And it's a poor thing too, because Segese is a really, really, really well respected authority, and it cheapens this. And now that we've got that to prove that she was not involved in it, the interview in the catalog it was fabricated. It never happened.
Oh, wow. So they didn't even talk to this person that, like, maybe is this a simple case of, like, somebody maybe had a very small contact with this person and then just took that and said, I'm just going to, because we all know those
Exaggerated it,
people, to put this in like very layman terms.
Oh, yeah. I do that all the time.
Well, you do.
You know what? What's kind of screwed up too is you see this.
I say Kyle Eagle's my best friend to everybody.
Yeah.
It's like I barely know the guy. I want him to be my best friend.
You mean that guy Dennis? I mean Daniel. Dennis. But what's interesting is that it's almost, you see this around like these kind of like Cliff Note grifts.
Yeah.
You know, like you see on the gas can.
Grift notes.
Hey, sorry, buddy. I ran out of gas over there 2 miles back. Can you have some money? That's a common scam that people use.
Sure.
There is an art scam that people are like, hey, I was doing a storage buy and I happened to find these works. And then you find you kind of anchor it with some kind of legitimate person who's dead.
Right.
They can't defend it.
Right.
And you make up a story. It's kind of like pyramid schemes. Always have a scripted model.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
they never change.
No, they don't change. Yeah. But this show, they tried doing this show in New York and Toronto. Well, actually, it was a private show. I don't know to what extent, but it had the same kind of format and setup. And they used Al Diaz, another Basquiat expert. But again, to what extent, how legitimate was it? But yeah, you reach out to them. And, you show them the work, and, like, if they have any respect for the career, they're going to be like, it's kind of outside the realm of possibility. I don't know. But to be honest...
How come they don't dig in more? Like, if I were, let's say I'm one of these guys that can verify a Basquiat, or, like, how come you don't have the guy, like, absolutely not, don't associate me with that, or get the hell out of here, that's fake. Like, what?
It's probably super complicated where there's probably a lack of total Basquiat experts that you could even choose from. And then from that, it's like there's only so much evidence you have that these are legitimate. You know what I'm saying?
But
maybe
to me, it's like once somebody has said
dry.
that with somebody who's got a valued opinion, right? Somebody who carries some weight. It's almost like once they've said, let's take your example of the New York and Toronto, where it sounds as if New York and Toronto passed, right? How come that just the notion of, hey, we had this thing, they wanted it in New York, they wanted it in Toronto, and we said, hell no, something stinks.
Right.
How come that's not enough
Like a red flag.
to tar and feather them out of the artwork?
Well, no one probably checked, or no one knew. Like they're just like, oh, we'll take it. We're Orlando.
That sounded authentic. Is that an actual soundbite from what happened? My God.
See, that's the part that hurts, man.
Yes.
Again, I will say this.
I meant it to hurt.
Nobody.
Sorry.
I'm glad you felt that way.
I will say this: no one is getting joy out of doing this.
No.
I do not find anything gratifying about calling the museum out for consequences that need to be paid if this is the case. But what it is being born and raised here my whole life, and I lived in New York for a long time. But when you go, ever since this show came out, you hear people like, oh, well, the people there, they think that they know everything, and they're dumb enough and naive enough to go for it. That really kind of hurts. But the thing is the people who, again, who aren't bench warmers, know better, would probably do a better job. There are a lot of people out there who do great. I mean, the arts in Central Florida have flourished. And I think a lot is because the museum kind of drops the ball. When they get a good director or get good programming, they resist it. And I use the example of you have bench warmers in the field of play, and you have people who are first stringers warming the bench. That's got to change. And there have been a lot of board members who have left, and there have been board members who've taken their collection from the museum and they're taking to other museums. I mean, that's a real blow.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about taking the content that makes the museum valuable. And
can the museum be punished other than just public opinion?
Oh yeah, you lose your accreditation.
Yeah, how does that work? And like, what do you see happening moving forward? I mean, first of all, I want to go back to, what does the family think? Have they ever said anything? Is
No,
there family?
They have not. In fact, they did. There's an exhibit now going on called King Pleasure, which the Basquiat sisters have put together. It's gotten rave reviews.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, it's gotten reviews. Now, if you
in fact, I think I may have confused what we had for that.
No, that's a good exhibit, and I'm certain. And it's certainly, I'm glad it's happening because it kind of can help overshadow this.
Yeah.
And push these guys where they need to go, either like pack up and go home or pay their consequences like adults, and either you get jail time or fines and just go away. But the
Kyle, let me ask you real quick before we go on. So is this a thing that's happened in the past with art? Because this is interesting to me. I had no idea this thing even existed. But where you take a collection
next
that's
thing you know,
forged.
he'll have me out in the lobby. I'm forging paint. I mean, if I know you the way I think I know you, I'll be out there basketing my balls off to try to make some
these are Warhols, right?
Yeah. Well, as far as Tom told me they are.
Oh, nice.
It kind of goes. It's in line with other scams where if you get someone that that's legit involved at all or name on it, it's kind of like how Fire Festival happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get some celebrities that are
example,
legit.
yeah.
That's another, yeah.
And then
You're putting firepower behind it.
so you get this collection and this forge or whatever, and then you find a museum that's willing to show it, and then you just use the fact that these museums and these showings happen to then sell the paintings or move it up to, and then that could be. I mean, how much could these be worth if they sold on an open market without all this controversy or whatever? Is it in like millions?
I don't think without having a museum to give it credibility, not that much. And I'll go into that part in a second. But one of the problems is over the years is that when a museum buys a forgery, you don't want to admit to it. It makes you look bad.
Yeah.
And I would
They're
definitely
trying to hide it.
So in the last,
it makes you feel bad in Animal Crossing when you buy a forgery.
Yeah.
And I do that all the time.
Yeah, I hide a lot of my
The
mistakes.
fox, he pulls his tugboat up to my island. I wander in there, and I'm half high, from a medical marijuana, and I buy the statue of David doesn't have a penis on it.
yeah.
Seriously, this is things that have happened to me,
happens,
folks.
yeah.
This is real life.
Well, it comes in installments. You want the penis, it's gonna be a little bit extra. And of course, it's the sizes you can get.
Yeah, it's a different attachment.
Yeah.
Was it Bear? Yeah, I got the Bear, David.
Yeah, but it's since the kind of the fall of the Cold War and East-West, over the years there have been you find a farmhouse full of Bugatti cars. That's happened. People whose collections were lost during the war, like my family immigrated to here, but back in there was this building that was in the communist bloc, and it had my grandfather happened to know Picasso, and it does happen.
Yeah.
But now you're getting kind of, and again, the criminal mind always kind of thinks like, okay, how can I get on this game? What I have to say about this is this has been a grift that's been going on for about 10 years with these guys, and it's been followed by Anita Sinkowski, who is a crime blogger, and they've done other things. And she happened to look them up one day just to see what they're up to, and she found this museum show was happening. She actually emailed the museum and told them, hey, look, here's my research on these guys. No response back. But my thing is, 10 years to hopefully score possibly $200 million. If I were a criminal, I think I'd just sell drugs. You
Well,
make,
yeah.
you make your-
Easier.
I mean, that's a big payday, though,
I mean,
Kyle. I mean,
it's
200
almost
million.
like
We're not
a-
talking about 2 million. Like I
a
thought it was
10-year setup.
Well, it's like a big. It's like
Well,
buying
he probably-
Bitcoin. You wanted to go high, you just set it and
Well, but
forget
it's
it.
probably not their only scam. They got a little bit of this.
Oh,
little
it's
bit
definitely
of
not their only
You know,
Well, I
yeah.
can say this. It seems like reading into these guys' lives and looking into what they do, when they do make a score, it seems they spend it on court and staying out of jail. And what's interesting is the two guys, Leo Mangan and William Force, those are the guys, and they changed their names, different spellings, aliases, definitely are not reputable characters. Pierce O'Donnell is an attorney who does have a good reputation. I mean, anyone in law enforcement, you're going to have controversy. I don't understand why he would pick at the tail end of his life and career to do this. And Dr. Aaron DeGroft. I mean, there's seemingly nothing about his career that would show that he would do something like this. And why be so reckless and do this? I mean, I wouldn't hire these people for anything after it's like, well, you're the guy that signed off on this kind of shady stuff. And he claims he's going to bring in, well, I don't know how it's going to happen now, but Banksy, another blue chip artist who has a very strict criteria for exhibiting his work. And also Jackson Pollock, which is also heavily alleged to be a forgery. And Pollock's easy to forge because it's paint splatters.
Yeah.
And my thing is, if you went to the opening night, it was packed to the gills.
Yeah.
It was great. And it's in many ways, you're like, okay, there is an arrival moment here. Central Florida is ready for more challenging work. We can have more contemporary art. And I think the takeaway is, stop trying to focus on blue chip art that may not be available. It may be forgeries. Focus on the here and now. Focus on the artists that are up and coming, maybe regionally or up and coming around the world that are alive. You can get them.
Yeah, that are real.
And the money spent on this,
yeah.
get these guys. I mean, like, the last several years, like, not to kind of go into my own resume, but, when I was with Mills Gallery, we had a series of good artists that got great reactions from people. The work sold, the work had vision, and a lot of the more serious academics and serious institutions took the work seriously and got involved in raising some of these artists' profiles. That says something. Invest in this stuff. There's going to be a Basquiat, there's going to be a Beatles, there's going to be a next great thing anywhere you go. The thing is, find it, foster it, give it support.
Sure.
But getting involved in this sends the wrong message.
So how do we fix this now?
Well, I'm curious to what you think happened here, because you obviously know way more than all of us. I have just a simple theory on what probably happened, but I'm interested in what you think happened, because it probably, to me, it seems like they want, it's the old hovercraft. You want something to be
You're
so
believing
true,
in something that's not real,
and then you find out that it's fake, and then you still, like, maybe because embarrassment or whatever, you just keep hoping that it is real, or that people won't stop
Nobody likes
looking at it
being
or whatever.
wrong.
Yeah. And then, so what do you think exactly happened with this whole thing?
Well, I want to give the benefit of the doubt that ambition got in the way and some bad decisions were made. And I think it may be a matter of not admitting to it.
Because they were afraid of the consequences of admitting their mistake.
Yeah, like if all of a sudden someone calls you, hey, guys, Johnny Depp wants to come in and talk about the Amber Heard trial with you guys. You'd be like, oh, dude, scoop.
I knew it. I knew he wanted to be here.
We wouldn't do.
I've been writing to him for weeks. I knew he wanted to. I knew he got my letter.
That's a very, very attractive offer.
Yeah, it is.
But maybe someone's setting up as a mark, and possibly you come in and it's like, I don't think that's Johnny Depp, but maybe
That's Kratom Carey. I know that guy anyway. You guys just put a pirate wig on him.
It's Kratom Carey dressed like Jack Sparrow.
You
I wanna know it's Johnny
You
Depp.
put a Jack Sparrow wig on Kratom Carey.
Well, stake our reputation on it.
That's a real Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, so I think maybe people aren't perfect, institutions aren't perfect.
Yeah.
And maybe something happened here. I think the responsible thing to do is not make these tone-deaf remarks and defend it, and not say things like, "Oh, it's just them picking on us." That's ridiculous.
It's not our job when hurt a little bit. That one, I don't like that quote. It's not a museum's job.
That's it.
Like when I hear that, I'm like, it's not your job. Oh my God, that's so. Oh God, don't say that.
Yeah, then let me just throw something in there. You know what I mean?
My
Like,
God.
what?
Put Tom and Dan merch in there. Then
Right.
we'll sell it at the
It's
museum.
art.
It's it's condescending.
It is.
It's insulting. Okay, I'm going to read something here. Okay, so I think this has to be said. Now, this came to me anonymously.
Okay.
But the night after the opening, the museum director sent this out to every board member, organizer, involved in the arts, blah, blah, blah. Like, many people on a mass email.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, take it in mind, this guy's been here at this point maybe less than a year. He's not from here. And he's going, the only blockbuster exhibition in our community is Basquiat at the OMA. It is an international debut, which is not true. Can anyone else say that? I do not think so. How can I help here? What can I do to help my colleagues? But let us not delude ourselves. The OMA is hosting Michelangelo on September 5th, Jackson Pollock in October, Banksy in January, and Leonardo da Vinci in fall of 2023. How can we help? We are a leading arts institution in Orlando. Let us help. I mean, that's so condescending to people who've been working here a long time and have been making inroads. There are a lot of organizations that do art well here. Manello, Snap, Morse, Rollins Museum of Art.
Sure.
There's a lot of people out there that do good work. And that is like, I'm sorry, it'd be like someone coming to town like, Tom, Dan, I'm in radio, and let me see if I can help you. Like, we kind of been doing
it
this
happens
a
all
while.
the time.
This is
So this director came from somewhere else, from outside. Like, he hasn't been in the community for a long time.
a year, maybe less.
Gotcha. So he's relatively new, and then also, if a year, like you're talking in the middle of COVID, you come in and it's like,
well, you'd have no representation of what our city's even like because it's shut down.
like, yeah, there is a year.
You don't know anything
of
about our city.
like you could sneak in here and, and no, everybody was hiding in their house.
I snuck in. Yeah, it's funny.
So I wonder if they like, and we're talking about it, which normally we wouldn't talk about. Like, come on, let's face it, our
We're
listeners.
the number one art podcast in Orlando.
But I wonder if they think like, oh, big media is not going to ever cover this. It's not getting any traction because the world
What
is
do you
dumb.
think? They're banking on podunk? Is
Yeah,
that what you're
yeah,
saying?
and
They're
then-
banking on the fact that we're small?
But
I'm thinking it would quietly go away.
Again, that's insulting.
I
though.
think that people behind it, but again, I also think that I think there is a complacency and a bit of a bubble and a provincialness in the powers that be that run the museum and whatnot. And I'm sure I'm not going to gain any fans with these people, but again, people is like, oh, I don't want them to get mad at me. And I'm thinking, they're not going to ruin your career.
It's not about
I'm gonna
being
go to this town again, boy. Yeah, okay.
It's not about being mad or anything. It's more about like just representing
what's
the
the
art
truth?
correctly. Yeah, thank you. It's,
Yeah, but not make us look like podunk.
Yeah.
I think the powers that be all around, even the guys behind it who kind of put this quote unquote exhibit together, the owners, I think they fail to take into account that there are a lot of people who have good reach, wider connections. I mean, like, I've been since February the article came out. I can't tell you how many times, like, hey, come have some drinks with us, and hey, come over here, and like off in a corner, and I get to hear this diatribe of what's happening behind the scenes, and it's not pretty. All off record, a lot of it. I've even I've contacted several artists that were friends and grew up with Basquiat. I even interviewed one of them for the article because that's what we do.
Yeah, that's
a lot
what a
of
journalist would do.
Sure. Anyone, you do the real thing. That's why you guys are where you're at. You're doing the real thing.
We do very little work.
But you get what I mean.
No, I'm making jokes, but like, let me ask you
But not
this.
being a phony. We're not phonies, and there's a lot of
yeah.
phoniness that the powers that be that they're kind of play art.
Why isn't it like, okay, so I'll put myself in the role of, let's say this is our museum, you and ours, right?
Yeah.
And then Kyle comes in here and we've had up a Basquiat showing in our studio, in this studio right here, and he comes in and he goes, guys, this is all BS. I mean, and remember, there's the FedEx logo, blah, 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 here's the thing, the catalog, the whole nine, you show me all of that. Why isn't it just like, oh my God, pull it all down, get the hell out of here, and then we sincerely apologize for the fact that yada yada because
I feel like they don't want to take accountability.
but I have done this my entire life.
They want to blame it on the person that sold them these fakes.
As a show, we mess up more than any other show in this city. Now that I'll stake my career on.
Right.
And whenever we do, we had in hand, we did it on the BDM show. Like you go there and you go, guys, we tried to hit the mark. We completely missed the mark. We are sorry because it's the only way to make sure that you have any shred of integrity, right? Is to be a real human.
Backpedaling never works. It never. When you're a kid, your parents tell you, admit when you're wrong. Like, who broke this? I'm sorry. I was being careless. I broke it. My apologies.
But why aren't we getting that? It's
lack of adult pants being put on.
It goes above that, where you have a certain responsibility for the reputation of Orlando and the reputation of Orlando's art scene, right? Being the Museum of Art in Orlando.
It's a big title to carry.
And when you tarnish that reputation, you tarnish it for everybody involved, right? And the city itself. And so screw this because you didn't do your due diligence, or you acted unprofessionally, or whatever you did.
Right, whatever.
You have to, it's your responsibility to admit that mistake or take yourself out of the situation. Whatever it takes, you did this, and
you were in charge, yeah.
And
you would be a great museum curator. No, he would be because he's very much like, sorry, my fault.
If me and Daniel start advertising for a company that's an obvious scam, and a bunch of people warn us like, hey, this company is a scam, and we ignore that, and then we push forward and power forward,
not good.
That'll ruin our entire business and career. We work for ourselves, but that is totally on us.
Yeah.
And we'd never do that because look at what
That's all we have.
Exactly. Once you tarnish your reputation or you ruin that, what other? I mean, after people hear the story, are they going to believe that the other art is real? And then that's a disservice to the other artists too. If it is real,
and they ask us to respect them, but what can we come to expect and respect from them in return? Again, like the opening night. I mean, there are people starting to ask for, I want my money back. I spent X amount of money on the gala. I went in.
You scammed the customer.
Yeah, how much of that? And then also calls an account like, okay, does this cross the line into criminality and fraud?
Right.
And again, it's like, my thing is the takeaway from this is the opening night. Obviously, blue chip artists like Basquiat speak volumes to a lot of people. They look up to him, his level of success. He went against the grain. A lot of people. He's more of a hero now than he was when he was alive. When the movie came out in '96, that's what started the whole industry of Basquiat.
Oh, it's just to put it in perspective. Peloton did a Basquiat line of clothing.
Sure, that's right.
Yeah, okay.
That was but it was hand selected by the sisters, I'm guessing, and they worked in conjunction with them, and it was an extremely big deal to roll that out. I think they may have rolled it out in conjunction with Black History Month or something. I forget how they did it, but they wove it into a way where and it was all hand selected patterns and art. And Andrew even bought a pair of like leggings and it was really, really cool.
It's a big deal.
So when I saw this, my initial reaction, they got me because I drove by and I go, oh wow, we got that.
Oh yeah,
right,
and
man,
again,
hell yeah.
And it opened in February, Black History Month, and Basquiat now is included in the whole Black History.
Yeah. Which is another reason you wouldn't want to touch it if you thought it was fake, right?
Well, I mean, again,
because you're weaving it into the. I'm just saying.
Well, the sad part is that you look throughout history. There is a lot of exploitation of artists of color.
Yes.
I mean, like, I don't know this is a fact, but it would be interesting to see how much Dave Brubeck made and earned off Time Out, and how much Miles Davis made off Kinda Blue. Same label, same year it came out. Now, I'm just putting that out there as an example. But by and large, it always seems that people can kind of like, oh, well, this is the best thing they'll ever get. We'll just exploit this and they'll be happy about it. Like, that's a really, really tone-deaf reaction to do.
It's condescending.
And it's hurtful.
It is.
And the thing is, like, people who are, like, that are doing consistently great work and great exhibits, and they're doing good artists, and they're finding good people out there, I think the museum needs to step into that. And again, they haven't grown with the population around. I mean, it's just like the minute they chose a Basquiat exhibit, they should have shed that skin of provincialness. Now, if you're talking about you're going to show Banksy, you're really stepping into the world stage, and you can't act like a podunk, like you were saying, or or treat treat the people that come in to see it like Peckerwoods. We're not unsophisticated. If you're gonna step out in the world and play ball with the big leaguers, then
Make sure it's
Oh
accurate.
yeah. Well, if you
Yeah.
show me any painting of a little girl with a balloon, I think it's Banksy.
Okay.
I'll never know. You'll be like, Banksy, look, it's the balloon. Kyle, where can people read this article?
Orlando Weekly, physically, a bunch of different boxes around. I grabbed mine at Stardust or the former Mediterranean Blue.
All right.
Or
Yeah.
OrlandoWeekly.com online.
Where else can people connect with you? Because we are running out of time. I don't want Sam to wave her fingers.
Oh, should I give my email address?
yeah,
Yeah,
give
yeah,
out
yeah.
whatever you got.
Should I give
man.
my personal phone number, my social security
You can
number?
do that if you would like. I mean, but our listeners will take advantage of it and steal your identity.
All right,
like
what about my
100%.
shoe size, my license plate?
You're still doing?
They
are
do
you-
want to see your shoes.
Yeah, they want to see your shoes.
Oh, those
but,
are nice shoes.
Are you still doing your show? You're still doing it, right?
We
No.
are in the middle of revamping it. I got some stuff. We did a few things during COVID. I got a backlog of interviews from the major scale. Thank you for mentioning that.
Well, I mean, like we're trying to get all the plugs in. We love having you in.
I love
It's
being
fun
in.
having. I like it when you come to the table with something to chew
Yeah,
on
yeah,
too,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
This was
yeah.
fascinating. Sad.
It
Fascinatingly sad.
It doesn't have to be. What I think is going to have to happen is you're going to see a clearing of house, and they're going to have to get their act together. But I think all those people that were excited about this, and not to support this cause, but go to the Manello, go to Snap, go to the Moores, go to Cornell, go to City Arts. Smaller shows are being done in people's houses.
Yeah.
Buy art, support those artists.
Start
Get
support
to know
those artists.
them. Yeah.
And I think that because we have the Florida Prize show, which is excellent, a program that started. It's going to suffer from this kind of thing. But KyleEagle@gmail.com if you want to comment on it.
there you go.
Awesome.
KYLEEAGLE like the bird @gmail.com.
And we do have to get out of here, guys. Thanks so much for listening. We're done.
Yep.
So we will see you next week. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
Hello there, Sam.
Hello.
You don't have to be fine. You can be okay. Are you just okay today? Because I am.
I'm just okay.
I'm actually just okay.
Our beer release is this Saturday, June 18th.
That's going to be awesome.
At Hourglass Brewing in Longwood. It starts at 11 a.m., goes to 2.
The beer is called Dad Jokes. It
Yeah.
is I believe it is a golden ale, if I remember
Yep.
correctly. And it's going to be delicious because Hourglass Brewery makes delicious beer.
So we're going to have merch out there. First 100 people that buy the beer is going to get a custom BDM pen. So if you want to come out and buy some Father's Day beer for a gift
I'm
for
just
someone.
excited to
or-
hang out with you guys because we haven't done this in a minute.
I know. So get there around 11 and beer goes for starts selling at noon.
Okay, I have an idea. I
Yep.
was going to wait until I knew you were going to plug this. My wife is here to verify. I have been following through on a promise I made to BDMs a while ago. Remember I said I have too many hats and my wife wants me to get rid of them.
Yeah.
I'm already stacking these hats and putting them into boxes or trash bags. Do you want me to bring them to Hourglass? And if
Yeah.
the first people that are in line that buy the beer, I will give you one of my Dan hats.
Okay.
You get a Dan hat.
That's a good deal because your hats are brand new.
They are brand new.
Yeah.
But I have so many hats. Like I got Tom and Dan hats. I got crazy hats. I got funny hats.
I got hats.
Little hats.
You've got
big hats.
every Tom and Dan hat
I do.
that we've
I-
ever made.
Too many hats. I was going to bring
Yeah.
them all and then just let people closer than the dump and bring them and let people dig through my old hats.
I mean, you say old, but
They're not that old.
and to your standards, old is brand new
yeah,
to me.
like some of them are just gifts, and I'm like, I'm not wearing this. It's a brand new hat.
But you've probably worn it, 10 times.
Not even, maybe some
Yeah.
of them I haven't even worn.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, I'm going to bring some Dan hats. So if you're in that line, I'll have a plethora of hats while supplies last.
Yeah. So let's do some emails.
Okay.
Oh, and
Nope.
then
Uh-oh.
the
Hello?
next,
What's happening?
the following week on June 26th, we got Carts and Kegs. That's going to be around Henry's Depot in Sanford. And so it starts at 2. Come down. It's a free event. And drink some beers and watch some golf cart. I say racing, but it's more of an
It's like
obstacle
a skills
course.
challenge.
Skills challenge.
Yeah. A little bit of speed, a little bit of finesse.
Me and Sam will be out there emceeing the event. So
Yeah, you gonna wear a blazer like Kyle Eagle or?
You should wear no shirt,
hot.
blazer,
Too
tiny
hot.
shorts.
Okay, yeah. I have my old Pop Pop's blazer that's that powdered blue
Cut
one.
the
Cut the
sleeves
sleeves
off of
off.
it. Yeah. We've been doing that a lot
Yeah.
lately. Cut the sleeves off of it and be Hulk Hogan.
I feel bad cutting the sleeves off, but I have very few
you'll
things
be a
on.
snack. You'll be a snack if you go out there. Then you got the ladies all, and then your wife will be mad, and then you'll be fighting.
No, women don't hit on me.
That's not
That's
true.
because they're afraid of Crystal.
That's not true.
It just never happens. No one ever
I
hits
get
on
hit
me.
on all the time. All the time.
So what do we got here for first email?
All right, this is a long one.
Hey now.
Recently, Tom made a joke that there were no female robots like him. Well, I am in fact the female robot version of Tom. I have a freakish amount in common with Tom, so much so that I almost feel like I am in therapy and learning things about myself as Tom talks out stuff on the show.
Whoa.
Whenever Tom is explaining his thought process through whatever ridiculous thing happened lately, I constantly think I would do that too, or that is how I would think. Then Sam tells him you are an insane person, to which I should maybe self-reflect, but it makes me laugh every time.
You have been saying that a lot lately.
Yeah.
You'll be like, "You are insane."
Well, I'm
and
surrounded by insane
And then
people.
I'm like, see, I told you.
I am the same age as Tom, married to the same person I've been with since I was 16, and we have 2 girls that are less than 2 years apart. I am awkward and I hate confrontation. Maybe not to the point I am listening to some old man spiel about something I'm sure I'm not going to buy just to make him feel like he did a good job, but definitely to the point of never confronting or even acknowledging a dodo dog lady whose pet is crapping on my sidewalk. I don't think I hate fun, but what I consider as fun almost always involves drinking. I'm bad at taking breaks or relaxing unless it's a vacation or a planned event, of which most of the time I am there by forced social or family obligations. I have no hobbies really. I am always working at either my job or my husband's business or on chores or projects for our home. I completely lack observation skills. If I meet someone, I will immediately forget their name. If someone is talking about a coworker's new car, not only did I not notice a new car in the parking lot, but I also never noticed what that person drove to begin with.
Oh my God, this is you, dude.
It's like nothing registers as important to me, which frustrates my husband, which will occasionally cause him to
Nothing?
turn into the male version of the crow.
Hold on. It's as if nothing is important to me.
Yeah.
Wow,
This
what
makes
a,
sense.
What a statement, right?
Anyway, this list could go on and on, but just know you are not alone, Tom, and the people in my life hate it too. BDM and fellow robot.
I am here with you.
It doesn't give me
Sing
any
it to me.
comfort. It just, I'm like, oh, well, you're R word too.
Shouldn't we? Robot's what he means. Shouldn't we
that's
get?
oh, sorry.
Shouldn't we get this
Robot.
lady in here and just do a little tit for tat?
I mean, I don't know how interesting
tap.
people find it. It's just a
What do
weird
you think? My wife is
personality
here.
quirk.
Oh, I turned it on.
Well, your wife is logical too.
Yeah.
I think that show would burn this place to the ground. Like that's a black hole that opens because you guys would be
No,
like,
no.
"Oh, I do that too. Oh, I do that too," and then it would just,
He's too stubborn to admit that he does something she does.
or Sam's brain would explode and
Yeah.
burn this place.
You probably
to the
wouldn't want
ground.
to be here for that, right? Like it'd be that would be a difficult watch.
We all okay. Follow me here. We
Follow me here.
We constantly talk about how every person's different, right? Everybody is unique, and that's
Like a snowflake, yes.
yeah,
We've-
like a snowflake.
Yeah.
But I feel that, of course that's true because every single person has different experiences.
I really don't think
possible-
lately I've been feeling not very unique. Like I feel like you're a pretty average guy. You just do the same thing everybody else does.
But
You're
I-
not that good.
But if you put everybody in little micro groups, I feel like
a concentration camp.
Districts.
Yeah. Oh, districts is good. Yes. Jails.
Of Daniel.
Like we're not that different from others in our micro group. Now I'm different than this lady, of course. We have different experiences, and there's little differences of our.
Oh, is this the Venn diagram thing?
Oh,
Are you
God.
trying not to
He's
say
making
Venn
it-
diagram?
I'm in this lady's micro group, and like,
Okay.
and everybody I see, and I imagine that is
You're on the same
An extreme-
area on the spectrum.
like
Spectrum.
every organized. I bet you there's like what's that? Maria Fondue, whatever.
Kondo?
Wow.
yeah.
Maria Fondue.
So you made Maria Kondo,
Okay, yeah.
who is the organization lady,
It's Marie, right? Or is it
I,
Maria?
is it I thought it was Maria. Is it
No, it's Marie Kondo.
Oh, we both got it wrong.
Oh,
Marie, is it condo?
Yes,
Like the place you live?
but spelled with a K.
You know, I can't make fun of you then if I'm going to get it wrong.
Anyway,
Well, you called her. I like Maria Fondue.
like she is probably
Nothing matters.
in Andrea's
Does not give joy.
like many spectrum of people, whatever, that are like that, in the fact that they're super organized and logical, but the organization aspect of Andrea probably puts her in a category of other organizers that have a
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
and then and Daniel sees it with an anxiety group. Like there's
Yeah.
people constantly email Daniel,
Constantly
I'm exactly
emailing
like
me,
you. And then
Nobody
Sam,
ever says they're like me.
No,
I
my
gotta-
sister's like you. My
Oh, is
sister's
she? Okay.
just as paranoid. She
She-
thinks everybody's gonna murder her.
She is pretty paranoid. The
All
number
right.
of times when we were putting furniture together that she pulled her gun out was like it was off the charts.
Maybe the
Off
paranoid
charts.
trait. Yeah,
She asked me-
that could be a pretty common trait.
She's leaving on a trip to North Carolina on Saturday, and then she has to stop in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
And she asked me this question: is Atlanta safe? And then I'm like, what is that? It's a gigantic city.
Yeah, it is a gigantic-
What do you
That
mean
is
it's
a
a
new
safe?
thing that people do.
That's like asking if any place is safe. Like there's probably good areas, bad areas,
Yes,
safe
correct.
areas, unsafe areas. It's like every place is
let
that.
me tell you something you may not want to hear, but I believe more people are like Samantha than even you or I. Because on the number of like Reddit boards or message boards or places that I see with travel, people are constantly at Orlando. Can I stay the night there at a hotel? Is that safe? And I'm like, what do you mean is that safe? Every city's safe, right? I think
It just
There
depends on
there
where.
are good and bad parts.
But
right?
I've never thought to ask anyone, is it safe? I would just assume that I would go to the city and drive around till I found a spot that looked safe.
Yeah. You could tell.
I'm not
don't
driving
You know,
around.
you know,
I don't know.
ask people, like, is this
Oh, I do
place-
my research, for
I've
sure.
never asked, is
If
this...
I'm booking an Airbnb, I look up the neighborhood.
God, I've never done that. Do you do that?
Yes. But I'm not. I don't
could
feel
tell by the
paranoid.
street
I just make sure that the surroundings are decent.
I don't look at any of that. I'm more
That's-
like you than I thought
You
I
don't
was.
do it. I do it.
I know, I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah.
Well, it's not that I don't do it. I can't do it. I don't have the capacity to.
So, but there's probably, how many people find someone that's exactly like them?
I don't think you can.
Well, you don't want
They-
that, right?
You remember Paul Abdul,
Why would I want
opposites
that?
attract? Yeah, you don't want the same.
No, not in
person.
a relationship. I'm
No,
just talking
but
about in
friendships are even.
Yeah, and
Relationship.
Yeah, because I tend to.
I don't think this would work if you guys were.
No,
same.
I don't even like talking to other people like me, like that.
Like your boys.
when they tell me something, I'm like, that sounds like something I would say. Get away from me.
Oh my God, you hate yourself.
I like the get away from me part. Hopefully, you say that in your brain.
I like hanging out with people that
That talk
are,
mean to you.
you know, or just
Yeah,
are
you've
different.
been saying that, and that's stuck in my wife's
That's stuck in
head.
my brain. You like.
I'm fascinated with people that talk directly to other people in a stern but fair way. Like that's my buddy Fernando,
wonder
and
if
like
But doesn't your wife talk to you in a stern but fair way?
No, I
it's-
don't like
it's
that.
totally
No,
unfair,
she,
something.
she caws at me in a crow way. But yeah. I guess it makes sense that your personality is going to be, I think, attracted to someone that has traits that you wish you had or that is not like you.
I
right?
wish I had.
Well, Daniel's got some.
Look, I'm staying out of this.
Redeeming
This
qualities.
bitch got it out for you. I don't know what's happening. She hates your ass.
funny.
No, he's very funny. I
Am
don't
I
wish
very
I had.
funny?
I don't wish I had his anxiety.
No,
But you
that's
have
a
a
disability.
You have a little bit of
You
anxiety
rubbed off
now.
on me.
Yeah, I have rubbed off on you. I rubbed off on you this morning or last night. It was last night.
Like his libido.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anybody wishes that, right?
No,
like it's
no,
a torturous.
It's unstoppable. It's a torturous libido. It's actually what it's classified as.
I'm on my iPad. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I say rude things. I'm like last night, I tried to make it funny. I was like, "You want to bump uglies?" That was a new one.
Oh,
And I said, and I don't mean the white boy reggae band.
sometimes like I'll go to sleep first, and then I'll wait for Crystal to come sleep. But I'm like, I
But you're
need
fully
it.
awake.
Yeah.
You need it. Don't say it like
Yeah,
that. Don't
yeah.
ever say that on the show. But I need it. You
No,
need
I'm just saying,
it.
after a certain amount of time.
Feed me, Seymour.
No, after weeks and weeks.
Yeah,
it's
well,
like, I'll,
you know what? Dan
can
did
only-
his promise. I've never been longer than 3 days.
well, that's insane.
Am I lying or dying?
No, sure,
Neither.
I'm lying.
I'm neithering.
Oh yeah, I talk to my buddies and they are more like they're like, no, my crow doesn't give it to me either. Like it's only when on her terms.
You got to make it funny. You
No,
got to use
there's
a
no
little.
funny
I
about
use
it.
a Little Wayne line. I go, now jump up on this dick and do a full split.
We're on corporate time.
Yeah, I know. I just
Anyway,
wanted to say that.
she comes to bed, and first she sneaks as if not to wake me up
Don't
because
wake
she
the
doesn't
horny
want.
giant.
yeah. And
It's
then,
like trying to steal the dragon's gold.
and then my eyes are closed because I'm asleep.
But
but
you're
I'm
not.
But I'm listening. I'm like, she's coming.
No, you're not
I'm-
asleep. You're pretending to be asleep so you can get
I
sex.
don't think you've
Just
ever said that.
call it what it
Yeah,
is.
but I'm trying to gauge in my mind whether I have a chance
Where
or
you
not.
can tell if
right?
her heels are hitting the tile, you have a chance. If she's
No,
on
no.
her tippy toes, you have no chance.
I mean, I could tell by her. Well, first how drunk she. I'm hoping she had that extra 2 cups of wine or whatever.
2 cups? It's glasses.
Because
If
if
she
I'm
drinking
gonna
out of
get
a
it,
coffee mug?
it's gonna be if she wasted, right? It's not in her right mind. And then
That's called spring break.
And I can also tell like how quietly she's trying to do things so she doesn't wake me up because that's like she doesn't want it, right?
We have a squeaky
Or maybe
door.
she's just being considerate and trying not to wake you
No,
up.
she's not.
Well, why don't you open your eyes?
Because
so
in the morning, if she gets to wake up early, turn on all the lights and don't give a damn.
Okay.
Why don't you act
No,
awake? Because if you act asleep, she's going to
No,
like,
because then I don't want her to get mad. Because then she'll look over at me and she's like, "I can tell you're awake. You don't have your arm brace on."
What the hell
And you're
goes on at
waiting
this
for
house?
me.
I'm with you. You're an insane
Thank
person.
you.
Is that the
And then
quote?
yeah.
You're an insane
And then I'm
person.
like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm just
This is
sitting
no way
here.
to live for either
And then
one
she's
of
like,
you.
"Oh God, you're always hassling me for this."
You're always hassling me for sex.
Yeah.
I
But
was
I'm
trying
like,
to sneak in to hide from you.
It sounds like you live in a trailer.
a trailer.
That's what. Ma.
I tried to sneak in.
I take offense to that.
No,
they're hornier.
can you lay there with your eyes closed and then scare the living bejesus out of her, right? And sit up and
Yeah, you should do that. You
She's
should do
always scaring you.
No.
Apparently, just his existence scares her at all times at the
yeah,
house.
Hold
yeah.
on, go back to you
Even though
pretending.
he stomp walks.
So you're pretending to be asleep, and she's trying to sneak in to not wake you because if she wakes you, she knows you'll be horny. Is that where I'm at?
She thinks that then I'll wake up and try to like attack her. And
Attack
Well,
her?
hold on, you don't need to say it like
Why
that.
don't you romance her?
Yeah, why don't you say
No,
like,
she calls it attack even if I lean over and gently rub her back.
I'm attacked!
No, she's like, I
Attack,
know,
attack.
stop doing because she knows what I want.
Citizens arrest! Attack!
Yeah,
Attack!
yeah, because I never do that in just a
Well, maybe you should.
Wait a minute, your wife doesn't
impossible
make
to
you...
do. Because if I
It's
even
not
started,
impossible.
she'd be like, I know what you want. I'm like, I know, I'm doing this. She's
Your-
like, no, you're lying.
your wife doesn't
I'm
make
like,
you-
You're right, I am lying.
I have to give a 1 hour
Because
back
what?
rub before any sex.
Well, that's the general barter. That's
I
fine.
hate General Barter.
Yeah, I've done the
I
barter.
hate his guts.
Plenty of times, usually for if I have to drive to 7-Eleven and get her wine.
That's the barter?
Yeah. She's,
Hold on,
She's
now
like,
that's-
I don't want to be
that's
anybody to see
more-
me
okay,
doing this
hold
at
on.
9:30 on a Tuesday.
That is more of a street transaction if
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
buying
Yeah, yeah.
a crow wine for sex.
No, I don't-
That's a street transaction.
She's
Does
doing.
she have to drink to have sex with you?
That's what he just
there's
said.
a lot-
Are you not
yeah,
listening?
yeah.
Every time?
I mean, not every
Sometimes
time.
you get morning delight, you said.
I mean, that's on a rarity. Like it's during certain cycles of the hormones or however it works. I don't know how anything works. I just saying sometimes she's happier than other times.
Oh my God.
And I don't know. It seems like a complete imbalance. Like I don't understand. Emotional.
What are you
happy,
doing here?
sad. Anyway.
No, I'm kidding. All right, next email.
Okay.
Good Lord.
You guys heard about the Amazon recall?
Mm-mm.
All right. So Amazon has recalled peanut butter. This person says, I'm also watching F1 in mini screen. Let's go, G. Russell. But this is my first recall for, I think, anything.
Is this the peanut butter?
Yes. He says, I already ate a jar. And I already ate a jar and a half, as well as my 8-year-old had some PB&J. So do I Tom Van Logic it and trash it? Also, my doggo for his meds. A bit stressful. I'll update if I die. Can we do the math?
This sounds like a crazy person, too.
You're gonna be fine, but the thing to me is, it's not worth the psychological trauma or just the thought of
Just throw it out.
when you're eating because now
You
that
would have
know,
gotten sick,
Yeah,
right?
you
I
would
mean,
have. The peanut butter's fine.
Yeah, but why
are
even
you
bother with it?
But are you going to eat it and not just constantly think
Right.
about salmonella? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
No,
it's
you're
gonna
right.
taste worse.
Yeah, give yourself some grace and throw it out of your house.
Well, for the $3, it's not worth even thinking about salmonella every time you eat a peanut butter sandwich from now
Right.
on. Like even me who's totally logical will like. It depends on the price, but I'm not gonna like even if
A jar of peanut butter. I mean, yeah.
It's $3.
If $3
punt
means
it.
a lot to you, you can return it and they will.
That's
Yeah,
true
that-
too.
money back.
Yeah.
It's a
You can
recall.
return it.
So
Yeah.
Right.
Too much of a hassle.
Yeah, I think that
you have to
too.
drive to, and then you hand
I
it
think
to
that
the
too.
customer
Do
service.
I take my half-eaten jar of peanut butter
Sometimes
to Kohl's?
I get embarrassed of this makes me an insane person. I do get embarrassed of small returns.
Yeah, you should be.
Like I
True.
don't
It's
want to
true.
drive to Publix and be like, I opened up this ground beef and when I looked inside of it, there was a fingernail, and I'm just like, you know what? I'll
Yeah,
just
yeah.
throw it away and never think of it again.
Yeah.
well, it's kind of like the buns I just got from.
She got some buns and they were like super fresh buns, but
The
bread.
next day they were green.
Yeah, bread in Florida, it's like it's a dice roll.
So
you know?
I just punted them and I didn't.
Yeah. Anytime I see the people returning some
Old
minuscule,
people do it a lot.
Like you bought a tiny bag of nuts, like whatever it is.
These nuts are stale.
And it's like $2.58, and then you're standing in line to return. They're just like, "What are you doing, old man?" or whatever. There's like, your time is worth more than this. You don't have that much more time. Do something fun, or anything. See your grandkids, anything.
Somebody in the chat room said that potato rolls will last forever. I'll give you something that seemingly lasts forever, and I can't understand the science behind is tortillas. You buy some Mission tortillas, and you put them they will last in your cabinet, mold-free and flexible for 25 years.
Did you know that you're supposed to refrigerate tortillas
Only
after
certain ones, not all of them.
the ones
Mission
tortillas? It says refrigerate
After
after
Oh my
opening.
God, I failed the mission. I didn't know
I've
I
that.
feel
never
like
done-
that would like dry them out.
I've never done it.
They
and
do
then-
stick together.
And now
Yeah.
Crystal,
I don't want sticky tortillas.
Yeah, no.
and it's never made a difference
So
because
it's
they have last
corn
forever.
tortillas are the only ones you're supposed to refrigerate
Oh
after
yeah, we
opening.
never get corn tortillas.
Yeah, we were
So if
flour.
it's flour or
Yeah.
wheat or
We're
whatever,
flour
you're fine.
tortilla
Okay.
family.
Oh my God, I've been
Then you
wasting
need,
my.
you need to call her and
I
yell at
told
her.
you
She's
it's not
wrong.
all of them.
She's wrong.
But
You can crow at her now.
But it says on the flour package, refrigerate. Did they just leave it on for all of
They
them?
probably did.
I
I'm
don't
going
know.
home to look.
Well,
I've
It
never.
says it on some of mine.
I
It
have
depends which ones we
never
get.
I'm
put
stuffing it in the cheese drawer, mad. I'm like, I've left these out forever, my whole life, and now you have to refrigerate
It's kind
them?
of like ketchup and mayonnaise and stuff people leave like at restaurants.
Right.
It's just on the table,
Yeah.
but yet at home.
They tell you to refrigerate
Right.
after opening, yeah.
So you're like, what do I do?
Well, like I like refrigerated ketchup because I'm the weirdo that likes the contrast
like
of hot
cold,
fries
yeah.
with cold condiment. I'm that weirdo. If I'm eating a pork chop,
I don't like hot ketchup.
If I'm using Heinz 57, I like cold Heinz 57 on a hot pork chop. That's just how I am. It's a weirdo thing, but I like hot meat, hot fry, cold condiment.
Okay.
That's how I roll. The tortilla thing, never done that.
Nope.
I have
I've never heard of it.
I'm turning 46 on Sunday. I hope that you're wrong, only because I'm gonna feel like
No, it's
I'm
I'm
gonna feel
still
like an
not
idiot.
gonna do it.
I'm gonna do
See,
it.
I like that.
I follow rules.
Yeah.
No, I follow rules.
Yeah. Like my wife, she's like, once she sees something
Yeah, I have
and
to
she
do it
knows
now.
like she has to do it.
Yeah.
Even like expiration dates she cares about and stuff like that. I'm like, it's still fine. Like, smell it, look at it. And she's like, can't eat it. If it's expired by one day, it's, even if it's close, she gets weirded out by it. It's all these things are crazy, like,
Sexy, crazy, cool.
no, just
Oh.
extra conservative, right? It's like they're never going to,
Navy
be
dive
that
tables.
bad.
You're trying not to say Navy dive tables, but I was
Exactly.
going to say it too. Yeah, I feel like tortillas can last forever.
And if they're hard, you can still eat them, but they're just not soft
okay,
anymore.
Yeah.
can I address corn tortillas because they're coming up in the chat a
Sure.
little bit? Let me go on corn tortillas and tell you why corn tortillas don't win in my family. They fall apart too easily. Yeah. If you warm a corn tortilla gently and then you put your meat or whatever in there, the bottom of it,
You're not wrong.
It gets jiggy-jaggy and then everything falls out of it. Flour tortillas, it will stay together.
And my kid is not gonna eat a corn tortilla.
No.
What
No.
about
Or
wheat?
burrito.
How do we feel about wheat tortillas?
I'm anti anything wheat. I'm
Okay.
back to straight up the only
White
breads-
flour?
The only bread that is in my house
White
is,
flour.
Yeah,
Stop.
Don't, you can't yell that.
What?
We only use the Sunbeam butter bread or Wonder Bread.
Wonder.
Poofy bleached ass Wonder Bread. tortillas.
Yeah.
I do know. It's a myth.
I couldn't tell you the last time I bought bread.
Wheat this, wheat that. You can wheat it on down the road. It is not welcome in my home.
And there's
And
real
my daughter
wheat.
drinks soda anytime she wants.
Yeah.
You want soda? Pour yourself an ice cold. Drink a whole 2 liter. I don't care. Drink it.
I do like the fake wheat. It's just like brown
coloring.
stained
It's caramel
white bread.
coloring.
Yeah. Because I buy that, I'm like, wheat. And Chris is like, this is just white
Yeah,
bread
it's caramel coloring.
with brown stain. And I'm like,
Ew.
tastes so good. All right, let's get out of here. We'll be right back.
Tell people how they can leave a voicemail. Samantha.
You can use our mediocre app and leave a mediocre message.
Yeah, see
you have
how-
to hold the button.
Yeah, see how easy it is for her to do it? If I'd have thrown that to you, you would have been mad at me.
Let's talk about.
Or you can, call our voicemail 1-844-866-6326.
And Nightbot put the number in the chat room because Sam put she put the command in there, and you're a pro. That's a pro over there.
So
I'm faking it just like the Orlando
That's
Museum of Art.
fine.
Basquiat.
So before we start voicemail,
Yeah, please.
You brought up
How weak I am? I'm the weakest man.
Huey Louie?
Huey Lewis in the news.
Oh my
Hip
God!
to be square.
Let's start a new band called Hootie Lewis. Hootie Lewis and the Jews. You could never get booked with a name like that. It's Darius Rucker.
Oh, you can get booked.
It's Darius Rucker covering only Huey Lewis songs with a backing band that are all Jewish people.
Yeah, all right.
Hootie Lewis and the Jews. Write that down.
You brought up that when you were a kid and you heard that you
I knew I didn't want to be associated with it. Like I knew when Huey Lewis was saying it's hip to be square. In my mind, no exaggeration, no lie. I said no, it's not. When you're hip, you're hip. Being square means you're a nerd. Nerds are not hip. You don't know what you're talking about, Huey Lewis. That's the microtransactions I was doing in my tiny kid brain. What year did Hip to Be Square come out? We'll zero it down.
so
I'm a big Huey Lewis fan too. First album I ever bought was Sports by Huey Lewis. A lot of good music on
Came
that
out
album.
the year I was born.
When is that?
1986.
1986. Okay, so I was 10 years old.
So then it made us think of the stupid sayings that they always try to market with just say no or
The nerds of today drive the Lamborghinis of tomorrow.
Future so bright, gotta wear shades.
But there's some truth behind that saying.
I like that one though.
But the be cool, stay in school, all these dumb ass sayings that they
Say
use-
nope to dope.
Say
Why do you
nope
think
to
they
dope.
call it dope?
And that they used to market, and adults came up with these thinking that they would work, right? I assume
Yeah,
that they didn't.
hashtag me too. There's another one.
Well, that's the.
That's a joke.
I was like,
You're like, whoa, stop, Dan, stop.
so why did they think that would even move the needle at all? How could they be so dumb?
Well, they needed
And I'll
something.
explain.
You needed something, right? Like when these programs get funding, they need something or they lose the funding. So you gotta
It's
come up
all
with
just
something.
some BS
I
to
think
get
I
funding.
answered. I
right
think it's
now.
all just something, right?
Because, when I tell my kids about drugs, and I've had that conversation.
Have you
with-
really?
Yeah.
Oh
He
my
does all the
God.
hard hitting war.
Yeah, you've done war, you've
sexy,
done death, sex, you've done Lizzo.
drugs.
Lizzo makes my pants feel different. You've done that one.
Well,
You've had the sex talk. Now your boys are, what are they doing? Finances now? How to balance their checkbook?
but
You've talked to your sons about drugs?
Well, because they know drugs are bad. Bad people do drugs. They pick that up from school.
Oh,
right?
my daughter has no concept of drugs. They teach no drug education in our schools.
And I stopped them. I'm like, well, it's not inherently bad. And
Oh.
the people that do.
Oh, that's right. He forgot he had the conversation about addiction. Remember?
Yeah,
Brendan
yeah,
had
this is what it's
addiction.
about.
Yeah,
this
this
is what
is
about.
part two
Okay,
of Tom's
part
addiction
two.
talk.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, they're not
You
inherently
did this
ba-
at Kelly's Ice Cream, right? You're sitting out front sharing an ice cream cone talking about addiction.
And I'm like, the people that do drugs aren't inherently bad. Some are, some aren't. But I'm like, a lot of people get addicted to drugs, and it's a disease. Addiction is a disease.
Yeah.
And really, it's about knowing that you can easily become addicted and become an addict by starting to do these drugs.
Okay.
And then we explain some people take pain medication after surgery, and then they they start getting sick if they don't take that medication, and they go and start doing drugs and then start, stealing money if they need the money for drugs. Like I'm explaining, because that to me, and they're only, 6 and 8, 7 and 8, and they got that. So it wasn't like, and I feel like if it just said, be cool, stand still, say no to drugs, that is a nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, because as they get older, it's just going to be like, for what all you're saying is say no to drugs.
Well,
but why?
It's memorable and it keeps it top of mind, and maybe in some way it's an open door to having the conversation with your sons. I'm trying to answer for them.
But it seems like that wasn't like when the cop
like,
comes
what do they
to
have
school.
now? Like, do they have that now? They don't have that corniness now. Like, if your boys, like, teachers talk to them about it, they don't have a stay in school, it's cool program, right? They don't have that.
I think they do, because teachers are scared to death to say anything to kids now because the parents are crazy,
Well,
and they're
be
like
afraid of the students too.
Well,
in some cases.
Yeah, well, no. I mean,
I'm joking.
It's the fact that parents will get in an uproar about any sort of discussion that a teacher's having with the kids.
Not me.
I don't know
got
how
your
anyone could
back,
be a teacher.
I
Yeah,
got
I
your
know.
back, teacher.
But so they probably are afraid to say anything and have to leave it super generic. But I remember when I was a kid in like middle school, the sheriff, Dade County, sheriff used to come with a briefcase full of different little baggies, and they were like, "See the drugs."
This is ice.
Yeah.
He's like, "They'll fry your brain." Like, say no.
This is ice. It'll make
Meanwhile, he's high, as he's telling me.
He's on a bunch of pain pills. But it's like, you're not teaching the kids. Like, I guess they think kids are dumber than they are, or like
They for sure underestimate kids.
And is there any psychologists like educating the actual cops that are doing these programs
No.
about how to educate kids
What are you
properly?
talking about?
They're just screaming, say no to drugs.
They're
what I'm
doing
saying
what
is
they can.
you're wasting your GD time.
Oh, maybe they are, but they're doing what they can.
But do it right. If you're going, you have the the PT Cruiser with street glow that has the McGruff crime dog on the
was
side.
never impressive
Is
to me.
what I'm saying. It's like
You got to do better than that.
You spent some time. The sheriff's taking time out of his day to go talk to the class. And there's a whole program. There's taxpayers' money. Like,
Well, that's just
do
an
it
easy
right.
day for them. They don't care.
But all the little boys that are in there, all we care about is your gun, right? That's it. We're looking at you. We're like, do you ever shoot your gun? Have you killed
ever shot somebody?
Yeah, have you ever killed anybody?
It just
My dad says all of you guys are gay.
Isn't there any adults saying like, this doesn't work? This is stupid. You're wasting your
Yes.
GD time.
Yes.
It kept going. No one
because
stopped
if
it.
you stop it, then you lose the
Half the
funding
teachers
entirely.
were high.
Yeah, no, I
You
know.
know what I mean? Like, they all knew it was a waste of time, but what are you going to do? That's just what's in the curriculum. Go with the flow.
Try to, I don't know.
Yeah,
Path
I
of
like,
least
I like
resistance.
that you want to
Smartest
do
thing.
better. I like that you want to do better. And I support
You
it.
go educate the kids. Apparently, you're
Yeah.
telling your kids.
Yeah,
about
you've already had the drug talk. You're like 9 steps ahead of me with Maisie.
Do they know the different types of drugs?
No.
Look,
But
when
I think-
when I win this custody battle with Andrea, I'm gonna have the drug talk with Maisie. I promise you, I will do that. You want to do this voice? Let's try this voicemail. This one. So this one, the guy, I got what he was saying, and then he got to the end, and then he just tried to hurt my feelings.
Here's the thing, Dan. The Marvel movies and any comic book movie and stuff like that, it's just not for you. You didn't read the comic books. You don't understand, the story that they're trying to tell.
I have to pause you there. I have read certain comic books. I'm the guy on the show that has read the most comic books. I feel very confident in that. The problem that I have with a lot of these shows is they don't stick to the comic book. Walking Dead, for instance, it lost its way.
You're saying things, like you're saying there's infinite universes, but that's not necessarily true. You're saying that they can just write anything away because of that. And again, also not necessarily true. It does present, opportunities for things to happen, like the convergence that's going to happen, that's going to bring like the X-Men and stuff like that into the fold.
Okay. Can we look up the title of the most current Doctor Strange movie, and then even the last Spider-Man movie?
Doctor Strange and the McGillicuddies
The
of
multiverse of madness.
Yeah, the misfit toys.
But when they say multiverse, they imply that that's infinite.
Yes.
Because it has, I mean...
Correct.
If you have a multiverse, it has to be...
Maybe not infinite, but at least more than one, right?
Well, what would stop you for like?
Yeah, 'cause
wouldn't they
multiple
say Doctor
universes.
Strange and the 79 universes or multiverses? Well, if they knew the number of like, look, guys,
Or
there's 79 multiverses.
Could just be 2.
Or they just know
No,
that
there's
it's
not
multiple, and that's what they're saying. It's
These
just
nerds
that-
want their cake and they want to eat it too, and I'm the only person that's brave enough to stand in their way, and they're all coming at me, bro, like this guy.
But at the end of the day, it's just not for you. You buy the same video game, Madden, MLB The Show, you buy the same game over and over again, year to year.
First year I've ever bought the show, sir. Check your sources.
At least our movies are different. We're not paying to watch the same movie every year. They're just getting bigger and better, and your little mind can't keep up.
Ah,
Wow.
my little mind. There it is.
just
My
not for you.
little mind. You want to do an IQ test? You want to do an IQ test? You don't want none of this because I'm just crazy enough for you to look at that number and you go, oh, God, he is crazy. And then I'm sticking a pencil in your neck.
Well,
That's how crazy I am.
I'll make an argument that these are like they're for children.
They're for babies. I don't think. and
Right? I mean, they're not
I
for.
don't know.
If they're for adults, it would be rated
They're
R.
fine. I don't want to get
Right?
any more nerd heat. They're fine.
Well, I guess what is it?
I-
Deadpool is, right?
Yeah,
They're
yeah. Well, that's fine. That's
Yeah,
for
whatever.
adults.
They're fine. You have
But
your multiverses.
the
I'm done
rest-
with you, nerds. I'm done with you.
I've actually been watching a lot. We started the whole in chronological order, all the superhero movies, and it starts with Captain America, in chronological order at least. And then we watched Captain America, and then now we're gonna watch. I think
What are
Iron Man's
What are your
next.
boys' favorites so far? They're Captain America kids, right?
Well, no, I mean they liked Captain America,
Spider-Man.
but no, they like Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, they watch multiple times. Doctor Strange, I think anything like where the super they relate more to Spider-Man or they know more about him than Captain America.
He's more of a kid.
yeah.
You know,
Well,
he's
it's
more
cooler.
whimsical. And he is cooler. He's got better one-liners. It's probably a gift from a God I don't believe in that I got a daughter because she's not all into this, and I don't even have to watch it. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to.
enjoy it.
It's not in my. Well, I don't.
Like-
So I'm glad I don't have to. I love comic books. I really enjoy comic. I'm reading the Rowan Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arc right now, and I'm very much enjoying it. I'm catching up with that, with back issues that I have of that. I loved Invincible. I love the actual live action cartoon, or not live action, but cartoon that they've been doing of Invincible. I love that. I think I'd like The Boys if I had time to start it. But,
Yeah, I haven't started that
But I
yet.
very much, I've read some of the comics, The Boys, and I very much enjoyed that. But I don't like the Marvel movies at all.
I'm not really into them either.
They don't do anything
I'll
for
watch
me.
one here or there, but I don't.
But I'm glad you
But I do
enjoy
agree.
it.
I do agree with this guy. For myself, I'll say it's just not my thing.
Yeah, it's just not my
Yeah.
thing. But I do like,
But
I
I'll-
like giving them heat for, and I do think it is sort of lazy to always go, well, that's just another universe. And I'm like, okay.
Well, I can't keep track.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, my point is, if there's you're not giving yourselves. There's no prompts. There's nothing there. It's literally you can make it anything you. It's endless. You can explain everything away, and that to me is the ultimate in lazy.
When you get into time travel, multiple universes, there's always a paradox, and that's the problem. And when you start writing in,
It can be done well, though.
it can be done, but no matter what, it's always a paradox because you could be like, well, why didn't you travel?
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, this didn't change this, and then it's
I
like
don't even want to have the argument.
you start explaining, like of why. Or what, you start messing with the time, it's impossible to make everything fit exactly because you could always say, well, if you went back, a couple more years, you could have stopped everything from happening. Or
No, you can't, Tom. No, you can't. Remember, small brain people can't latch onto the creativity that is endless explainaways.
Or it's like, why doesn't Doctor Strange open up a portal to this? Or like,
No.
You started,
Can't do that.
But you're applying logic to fantasy, which it never makes
I
sense.
just want some guidelines. I don't want it to be. I want there to be at least some form of rules and keep it within the scope of the rules of the show or rules of whatever we're doing. Instead of just going, well, we can pull in this guy, we can pull in that guy, we can pull in this guy, we can explain away that. That just seems very lazy to me.
I'm about to. I'll
Blow
let
my
you know.
mind?
No.
Oh, okay.
After I watch, the next, I don't know how many there are, 30. But I imagine we'll get through them by the time
It won't take you
this time
long.
next year. Or
No, it
something.
won't take you long. Austin.
Because we watch usually one, like we've been doing like Friday night movie night, and we've been picking
Friday night movie night.
a new superhero movie. So we'll watch a new one tomorrow. We'll probably do Iron Man 1.
That's a great movie.
And then,
I very much enjoyed that movie.
So I didn't even realize
20 years old, that movie.
I know.
It's
I know.
old.
Yeah. I know they're all old. Oh, we tried to go back into Jurassic Park. This is funny.
Can't do it.
So because the kids have always been kind of too young, we're like afraid it was too scary, but now they can handle it. We watched the trailer for Jurassic Park 1. It came out in 93, and they were like, why is it blurry?
Yeah. It looks like claymation. It hurts your eyes.
Not the CGI of the dinosaurs, but just the entire movie.
Grainy.
It's not HD. You know,
so it's old.
I didn't notice
You
it.
can't find an HD version?
I don't know. Well,
There
I thought
are, but it's still not going to look as. It just doesn't look as vibrant. It doesn't look as clean.
it's not filmed with the same cameras. Like it looks a little like there's a some sort of cheesecloth.
I would
over it.
imagine it was actual film, and then it was converted digitally for all of us
Yeah,
that actually
you
enjoyed
said you
it.
just watched a trailer. Did you watch just a trailer on YouTube? Because that is going to degrade. That's not an actual.
That's another.
you
That's
know.
another problem I have with all you streaming cats out there. You're talking about 4K this and 4K that. You can't even handle that. Most of your TVs can't even do that.
I forgot. Well, I think we watched it on one of the services that have all the Jurassic Park movies. I'm not sure. Like I know Jurassic
Yeah, they've
Park
been
World.
they've
is
been
coming
putting
out.
them back out just because of the
yeah.
hype. Boy, that movie's getting panned pretty hard.
Is it?
I thought it looked pretty cool.
I haven't even looked at anything
You know,
about
I
it.
mean, whatever. I mean, it's your standard dinosaur. There's going to be a Jeep chase. There's going to be some biting, you know?
Yeah. Just
Biting and Jeep
action
chase. Yeah. It's gonna
dinosaur
be,
movie.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
I
dinosaur.
can't take any more Pratt.
Oh, you're looking around. Oh, he's in a new one. I see the commercials on Reddit when I'm reading the news for a new one called The Terminal List with him.
Haven't heard that
Where
one, but I'm just over
look
it.
it up. It looks as if he is the new Born Identity. It's him, Born
Oh,
Identity,
God.
And it's the premise. And I'll put this in the. This is just as creative as multiple universes. He got bad intel, and 14 of his Navy SEAL brothers died, and now he's being framed because he blacked out and
It's
did
a series.
So now they're after him.
did he kill them or was he like what happened?
Good
You know?
God, man.
It's a hunk of crap. Let's try this voicemail.
Hey gang, it's Zach from Ohio. I've got some friends and family that don't like if I am, let's say, at work driving around in my my plumbing truck. They'll ask that I not come over to their house if I am driving my work truck around because I don't want their neighbors to think that they have plumbing problems because they say it's embarrassing. I think that's a little bit insulting to me. What do you guys think about that?
Well,
think-
it's clearly a Tom overthinking
I love it.
scenario.
I know, but there are
They
people
care
like
that their
Tom.
neighbors
There
are
are
like-
people like
Oh,
Tom.
for sure.
Hold on, I've never thought that. That's a bizarre thing to think.
Like, man, they sure do have a lot of plumbing,
Now
but you're
you
not
know
observant.
How we feel. Now you know how we feel when you overthink. It's funny that you're not observant for things, but you'll overthink certain things, like way overthink them.
Because I think he thinks that everybody else is overly observant like his wife. I think he's projecting how observant his wife is, and he thinks that that everybody else is like that, and they are watching him at all times
You're
and seeing
onto
what he's
something.
doing.
You're onto something. That's the
He's a crazy
filter.
person.
That's the filter he uses for, let's say, 60% of his day, right? When he's with his family. You're using that filter. So then when you get in here, I wonder if that's it's almost like it's residually still there or something.
But I feel like everything I've ever mentioned or overthought has been based on logic, and this is not logical to me.
Like you on your one wheel, wondering why people aren't asking you about your one wheel, but
That-
then you say you don't care what they think, but you're confused as to why they're not asking you about your futuristic means of transportation.
I was curious why the 7-Eleven lady didn't ask me one time or bring it up. Like I set it down in front of the
Obviously, it still
donuts.
bothers him.
I'm just
It still
no,
bothers him.
I don't.
I set my
it was a
futuristic
passing-
vehicle in front of your donuts, lady.
I
Ask
would
me a
never,
question.
I would never.
A passing thought. She makes small talk, and she never brought it up anyway.
She doesn't give a damn about it.
But she says other small talk BS. Like, so either small talk or no small talk. But if you're
Small
small
talk or
talk,
no
Didn't impress her. Did not impress her. Maybe she has one.
Maybe she's Shania Twain.
she'll make like questions about like, oh, is this White Claw good? Or just like,
She's an alcoholic.
God damn it, don't ask me about White Claw. Ask me about my one wheel.
I don't understand the thought of being embarrassed that you have a plumbing company fixing something of your plumbing.
Your poops are too big. That's it. That's where I go. I
or
go
flushing too many tampons.
Yeah,
condoms.
your neighbor looks out and says, but he's got that guy takes the biggest deuces in town.
Well, there's lots of other reasons a plumber will be at your house, you know? Like, I don't know.
Banging your wife or
cleaning out the
fixing
pipes.
your doo-doos. That's it.
Yeah, but there's lots of different pipes.
But most of them are doo-doo. Like, I'm only calling a plumber when it's doo-doo, I think. A lot of the regular sink work, I'll dance around that myself.
I've never even heard of anybody, like, making a comment like, oh, there's plumbers over this guy's house. You know, like, it's weird.
It was an older thing. Like, I can remember having friends that would have junker cars and then having certain friends or family or possibly even my father say, park around back. That thing is an eyesore. You know, like something like that. I wonder if it's something like that.
But that's a junk car that just like, oh, you know, or associate with poor people. Maybe like I can understand
think
that.
the plumbing truck is a. I think it's a stereotype of like blue collar. Doo-doo turd wrangler. You don't want the I think there is a socioeconomic component there, dude.
No,
and maybe
I
that's
think they think there's
turds
doo-doo problems.
because
yes.
I associate.
But guess what? Nobody's thinking that. That's what I'm saying. Whoever Zach's friends are way overthinking this whole scenario.
But after he said it, I was like, oh yeah, turds.
But I've been super poor, and I associate calling a plumber with
you got
rich
money,
people.
exactly.
Yeah, because when
if
I
you
was
don't
poor,
have money, you're not calling a damn plumber.
I was trying.
You're getting your friends and you're trying to figure out how to fix this.
I was borrowing a snake.
That's
I was
right.
fixing it, like by people that
Why
tell
would
me
why
how.
would a redneck who already has birds and snakes borrow a snake?
So if you call the plumber, that means you're rich. Because you can afford to call a plumber. Dude, I know people
You know,
that
I
have
can
plumbers.
actually agree with, because when I was poor, I absolutely did not call the
No,
plumber.
you couldn't afford it.
Yeah, I called my buddies.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Corporate Time. Welcome back to a Corporate Time. Let's do some voicemails.
All right, buddy, let's try this one right here.
Hey gang, it's Zach from Ohio. When I was a kid, much like many other people, I wasn't allowed to shower when there was a thunderstorm, because my parents always said, you're going to get struck by lightning. That's stupid, right? Also, do you guys know anyone that's been struck by lightning? I know a couple people that have said like their grandma did or some shit like that and they survived.
Sorry about that, Sam. I do know, I don't know him personally, but I know an old man who was the old cliche golf course struck by lightning and lived. And I too was also told to not take showers during storms because the lightning can travel through the pipes and it'll travel through your shower head, come down the water into you, and it will blow your balls off.
Yeah, I think Mythbusters did this.
We've looked it up a million times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does not. It's no worry about showering.
There was something about old copper pipes, but it's like very rare still.
Now,
to even
if
happen,
let's
or
say you have
something
like a
that.
57 Chevrolet or like an older automobile that has a metal dash. I'm assuming the metal dash is connected to the exterior of the car in some way. So am I correct in thinking that you probably shouldn't touch the metal parts of an older car if the car got struck by lightning because it would kill you?
No, the tires ground you. You're fine.
Is it? Because
Yeah.
like I've always thought that tire thing was a myth as well.
No, if your car gets struck by lightning, you'll be fine because of the tires.
There you go.
I knew a girl who claimed that she was struck by lightning and it blew her off her horse.
Oh my God, Annie Oakley. Who was it?
I think if it blows you anywhere, you die. Right? It's like
Or you at least get hurt.
the people that get struck by lightning, they're like near a tree and it got them.
Well, they're not really struck. Like the guy that I know, I don't believe the lightning entered his body. I think it struck a tree and blew him backwards. That's a little different,
Yeah, because
right?
it'll travel through the ground around a certain
and
distance.
then it has to travel back out, and that means going back up, right? Doesn't it go from the
Somebody in
ground
our
up?
chat says that their brother was killed by lightning.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
A lot of people are killed by lightning in Florida, especially.
Well, the
like,
lightning capital of the world.
Yeah. It
Should be afraid of lightning and not alligators.
But for sure.
Alligators ain't gonna do nothing. But lightning, go inside. Don't be standing under trees. Don't put the metal in the air.
I know that if you're out on a boat in a lake and stuff and a lightning storm, like that's dangerous too. Of course, when you're playing golf, like a lot of people have died. I mean, you see stories of like 20 cows that are standing around a tree. They all be dead because the lightning hit a tree. You know what I'm saying? It'll get you.
Florida recorded most lightning deaths in 2021.
Are we going to guess how many?
Yeah, go ahead.
200.
No, I'm saying less than that. I'm going
Trying to
38.
Trying to read Sam's smile.
It's only 11.
Oh, you were closer, though. It is without going over, so no winner.
So
I went high. 11. That's not many. How many for alligators? Maybe we were wrong.
Alligators, like, there's
5, 4.
No, I mean there was probably 0 in 2021.
There were 17 deaths in 2020.
Going down, trending down.
It's like we talked about the pool. Like anytime there's lightning, everybody's like, "Get out of the pool." But like, I don't think we've ever found a personal or a lightning death in a personal pool.
I remembered. Okay, let me paint you a scenario and tell me if you had this, because I would imagine you did. Lightning in the pool. Like I always grew up with a pool. Did you grow up with a pool?
No,
like
I
we
didn't.
all.
My
like,
grandma had one.
Yeah, well, that's close enough. But when I grew up, we always had a pool, and my dad was a lifeguard, really good swimmer, really good water skier. But he ran the pool rules at our home a little loose, and what I mean by that is, if it were thundering, it wouldn't be immediately get out. It would be like thundering. He's looking around. He'd be like, thunder is fine. The minute I see lightning, everybody out of the pool.
Yes. Yeah,
so we would almost.
That's fine.
And so I got that way, right? So I would go to other friends' homes, and then it would start raining, and then the mom would be like, everyone out of the pool. And I'd be like, well, no. We're already wet. You're an idiot. Like, we stay in the pool.
Well, that's an irrational fear.
Right.
My wife does the same thing. She makes the kids get out when it's raining. I mean,
I used to love
there's
swimming
gotta
in
be
the
some
rain.
thunder.
Swimming in the rain
Yeah.
was like me and my dad's favorite thing. Like, he'd be
If
like, it's so peaceful. Listen to it, Daniel.
If it's just raining, my wife won't care. If it starts to thunder at all, even though I tell her, I'm like, what? Now,
my dad would do the counting thing, and that's how I learned. Like, he'd count, he'd see the lightning and do the thunder.
3 miles away, 3 Mississippis.
That's the way we ran it.
Although, and I've stayed in the pool with,
I love it in the rain.
Thunderstorms, and it's lightning around me, and Crystal's yelling, "Get out!" And I'm like, it's never gonna kill me. Statistically impossible.
Oh my God, like the old man at Caddyshack.
But I do think, I'm like, man, I know it's not going to kill me, but what if it strikes these giant oak trees and camphor trees around my house, and then it gets me good through the ground,
Right.
Because if it's going to strike, it's going to hit the trees that are surrounding my house. It's going to hit the highest point, right? But I'm like, but I know it will try, like, it'll find the quickest route to the ground, which is through the tree.
Yeah.
And then is the tree that's only 25 feet away from the pool close enough to
become part of your pool.
Or to get me.
Jumps.
It'll
leap over.
I do think about it for a second, but then I'm like, nah, the probability is.
I just think it's weird that, like, now even, like, at most, like, okay, like, let's say at, like, a Blizzard Beach or Typhoon Lagoon. If it rains, they clear the pool, right? It doesn't even have to be thunder.
I think it does have to be thunder.
Oh, does it?
Because
Okay.
I know this because, and even thunder now, because everybody has got technology and stuff, like where my kids' swim class, we'll be out there, it'll be pouring down rain, and they don't cancel it unless lightning's within 3 miles.
Gotcha.
And they know that because they have apps that will warn them, like lightning within 3 miles. But it'll be thundering stuff, and I'll be like, whoa, I can't believe that they're still doing the swim class, even with thunder, but they get an alert if there's lightning within 3 miles, and then they tell everybody.
That's interesting. I like that. Let's try this one.
Okay, so I just got finished listening to Canadian Josh's segment. It made me think back to when he left a voicemail about EJ's bit, and he was just, bagging on it really badly, of saying how, it's terrible and we need to pay to get rid of it and all this. When you say all that and then you come on and do your bit and it's just explaining what icing is, and you're just, giving us the right pronunciation for Toronto and the bill and everything. It doesn't really help your case, I'm not saying doing a bit is easy or anything, but you can't say all that about how bad his bit is and then come on and do yours and give us that. I don't know. That's just me, but I could be starting a war of the segments, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say I'm Team EJ.
That's Russell Brand,
right.
everybody. Thank you so much, Russell Brand.
Take that, Canadian Josh.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. I think it's a neck and neck series. I think if you go, I mean, both of them are fat dads.
Yeah.
I'll put myself in there too. I'm not
EJ fatter.
Definitely.
We got North Fat Dad, South Fat Dad.
Well,
Yeah.
here's Canadian Josh's
It's
problem.
like the fattest Civil War.
It's anytime you criticize someone else, like all the attention is or pressure is
Like,
then.
let's see what you got.
Yes,
yeah,
you
yeah,
put
yeah.
on
Yourself
you.
a target,
Yeah.
man. You're making yourself
That's
a target.
right.
When if you get up there on your pedestal, you're like, this guy stinks, and
Yeah.
then everybody's like, all right, we're listening to you. This guy does stink, and then when you go to do your thing, everybody out there is gonna be like, well, it better be
What
way
do you
better
got?
than the other
What
guy
do you
that you
got?
said he stinks.
Yeah.
And then it's all subjective anyway, so you can never win. That's why you shouldn't criticize other people
No.
that do similar things that you do.
Yes.
Like, I criticize everybody else except for anybody
Who
that does
podcasts.
anything. Yeah,
If
podcast.
people podcast, they're like, how's my podcast? I go, it's awesome. It's great. Fantastic. Better than mine. It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
Because as soon
Keep
as
doing it. You're
if-
doing great.
If we start criticizing other, or I like this guy stinks,
Not doing it.
then it's like, all right, well, you better bring the noise.
Yeah.
or-
Don't bring the noise
Bring in the
again.
noise. Bring down the house. It's an NSYNC song. Bring the noise. Bring in the. Isn't it? I think it was one of their first songs. Bring in the noise. Bring down the house. Bring down hands and turn the party out. Do you know what I'm
that?
talking about? I gotta test my NSYNC.
That's why, like,
I don't recall that one, and I thought I had them all.
I would never
Oh yeah, bring in the noise.
I would
That's
never
for No Strings Attached.
want to have a job or critique.
I must have blocked that song out.
It's not good.
Maybe that's why. I do not remember that. Play a little bit of
Where
it
is
so
it?
it triggers my memory.
I'm trying to find. I can't even find it.
Bringin' the Noise
Bring-
on No Strings Attached album released in 2000.
I am on No Strings Attached. I don't.
Oh, did they wipe it from the album?
I don't see it on there.
That's hilarious.
Oh wait, no, I got it. Here's Tom. This is Tom's favorite song. Bring in the noise. Let's see if this works here.
Oh, I do remember this. Yep. Raising the Roof. This is where Tom peaked, 2000, bringing the noise.
There you go.
This
What do
song
you think
was
of
not
that?
great.
Bring in the noise.
I did forget about that
At
one.
least I was right about it. God, I was starting to think I didn't have it anymore.
Like, really, the only true way you could criticize others is if you're in that field and if you're quantifiably the best, right? So, like, Brady can criticize any other quarterback of any
But he
other
won't.
time.
He won't.
He won't, but he could, and nobody could say anything about it, right? Because Brady has proven by statistics that he is the best of all time.
I think a lot of people shut up about him because of that fact. I don't think many people say much about him because there's so much proof that, like, what are you gonna do? What do you even do?
if there's any subjectivity at all, hard to criticize other people because you're never going to be 100% right unless you can quantify it.
Yeah,
and
and
you
he
can't. And yes, yeah. And a lot of people can in their field or whatever.
And in
but
an awesome, simple way, meaning he can just show you the number of Super Bowls he's won. He doesn't even really need to peel back any detailed stats. You know, he doesn't even have to go any further than just like look at what I've done where I've gone.
and that's
And I think
career-wise.
the flipping to Tampa and then still doing it, to me, that was the last nail in the coffin of like, okay. And I don't think people give him enough credit. Look, I'm not a fanboy, but I also I think it's important to give credit. When he made the switch from, the Patriots, everybody, oh, you ain't going to do it. And he did it. And so now I think that is it. He doesn't have to do anything else.
God,
he did it.
How unlikely
He did
was it that he actually won the Super Bowl
I
the
like
year
to-
he
I
switched?
like to
Like,
think
I would
now-
have been, oh man.
I like to think now it's
we had an
not a-
audible bet,
I
but
think
we
you did. Oh, what was it? Was it
I
nudity?
can't
Was
recall.
there nudity involved?
Yeah,
cannot recall.
Something. I remember, like, because it was so
everybody was
unlikely.
tagging me and once it happened, and I was like, well, no one can remember what the bet was.
It's all. I mean, I'm about to scream. It's on tape.
And so
It's
many
in
people,
the-
and so many, and
It's in
so
the
many
internet.
of my friends are like, I'm so sick of Brady. Brady this. I hate
Yeah.
Brady. And I'm like, look, I get that. That's fine. But just he's the best. He is. He's the best quarterback, and I'm sorry if you guys get mad about that, but it's a reality. Just like there was a reality that I think NFL Network did a thing about Matt Ryan. A big day. They're talking all about it, and like they blew him up big, and how awesome he's going to be in Indianapolis, and I hope he is. I hope he does a great job.
I think they're going to be a good team.
I think they are too. Let's do. I'm burning through so many Zach from Ohio
There's a
voicemails.
lot.
But you might as well do them because
he's leaving them.
What?
You guys have your opportunity to leave messages as well.
He usually does a pretty decent job. After I had a talk with him about like, hey, you got to clean up your act. These are really good voicemails.
Hey, Tom and Dan, it's Zach from Ohio. When I was a junior in high school, I went on a spring break trip with my friends. We went camping in the foothills of the mountains in North Carolina. And a bunch of us brought our BB guns. And I was sitting on the shore of this lake, and a bunch of birds were flying overhead constantly. And I kept on trying to shoot them. Didn't think I'd actually hit one. And I shot this little sparrow, and it fell down and plopped in the water in front of me. And it was like just floating there with its wings out. And I felt so bad. I was like, why the hell did I do that? So I went up, I put it out of its misery, and I shot it like 2 or 3 more times till it stopped.
Well, you could have stomped it. I mean, like shooting is like the worst thing. It's so inefficient to shoot it with tiny copper BBs. It's like
You tortured it.
Wasn't it in the water floating?
Yeah, you shooting
Snap
it.
its neck, right?
You could have you got to wade out there. You got to grab it.
leave
And
it.
you just crush it with your
Oh,
hands.
you can't leave it.
No, you can't let it
Yeah,
drown. No, you have a responsibility to walk out there, pick it up with your hands, put it in the mushy sand, and squish it to death with your foot.
I mean, just pretend like it never happened.
And walk away. Throw your BB gun in the lake and walk away. Never to touch a weapon again.
Well, that's a common thing. Kids kill birds and things and then immediately feel the regret.
Yeah.
My dad shot a white dove once
Oh, at
in
the
front of all
Olympics.
3 of his children,
Yeah,
and we all were like crying.
He was at
Why
the
did he do
Olympics.
that?
Because he was a maniac.
Did he do it for fun?
Why a white dove? And was Prince mad?
It just happened to be in our backyard randomly.
Did he shoot it with a BB gun?
Yes.
Wait, was that a sign of? That's like you put a dove comes back with an olive branch.
My
that's
dad
how,
killed peace.
That's how you know that there's land near Noah.
He
right?
made us dig the hole.
Oh my
to
god!
bury it.
Did he
At
say,
gunpoint? At
Dad-
gunpoint?
Yeah, basically.
Well,
he
did
was
he-
still holding it.
Did he say, I'm going to kill this dove for no reason whatsoever?
God,
No,
God,
he was
it's
just
a-
like shooting beer cans, and then the bird was up there, and then he shot it because he's an
man.
a-hole.
He was literally shooting beer cans in the backyard.
Correct. As they fell into the ditch.
the ditch.
It's a movie
You had a
scene.
ditch.
He had a
for,
giant,
you had
like,
you had a ditch
canal.
for so long that you guys actually referred to it as the ditch.
Yeah.
Could you imagine a grown adult shooting beer cans in your backyard for fun?
I used
And,
to shoot
you
my
have no-
BB gun out back. That's the thing
Well,
kids
that's
don't
what
do
kids
anymore.
do.
No,
But I'm saying,
kids don't
Well, he
do-
did it with us.
No, I mean,
Well-
like, I literally would grab my BB gun and go into my yard, and people would be cars, people driving around, and I'd be shooting things on my BB gun. Kids do not sit in their backyards and shoot BB guns anymore. I don't think it's
Some
a
of
thing.
the kids, like out in the sticks, do.
Yeah.
Stick kids don't count, though. 'Cause
Not
stick-
in like central Orlando.
yeah, I did it in just like a small town, but we didn't live on like a farm or anything.
See, like, I'd let my kids shoot a BB gun, not as young as I did, but my wife, she's too paranoid that an accident will happen. And then now...
It
I'm-
can happen, yeah.
I'm not paranoid of the accident. I'm paranoid of getting yelled at if statistically unlikely things do happen, like you shoot a BB at the fence and then it ricochets and hits you in the eyeball, and then now he has to get some sort of eye surgery, and then I'll be divorced. So it's not even worth it. Like, I will get them those little... I see them on Facebook, those guns that shoot the Orbeez.
Yeah, the little airsoft.
Yeah, like the jelly.
Orby guns.
They shoot jelly balls.
Well, yeah, the Orbeez. Literally, there
Yeah.
are Orbeez, and then you hydrate them, and then they shoot like paintballs. I'm like that. You're not going to get some sort of eye surgery from that.
Could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but way less. I mean,
I know, I understand that, but like you
Well,
like
at
to
least
speak.
Tommy wears glasses, so that helps.
Well, you speak a lot in nevers, and I have friends that have had permanent eye damage from Nerf guns and everything else. I just throw that out there. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
You know, you probably should. If you want to not get divorced, you probably should wear safety goggles. If not, like we didn't.
No,
I didn't
no,
wear
no.
safety goggles,
My son's
but it wasn't on the table.
Yeah. And my sons have Nerf guns, a bunch of Nerf guns. I never put them, make them put on eye protection.
Good. I'm glad you don't.
It doesn't. I'm like, you'll be fine.
But it can happen. Is my point.
It could hurt. Yeah, but they also could fall down running or poke their eye.
Correct,
while
which
they're
is
doing
why you shouldn't do
skateboard.
it.
You know, well, yeah. I mean, they could hurt themselves at any time.
Yes, which is why I'm anti the safety goggles. I'm just saying
Yeah.
it can happen. Another one from Zach, I believe. Sorry.
Hey gang, it's Zach from Ohio. I've got a weird-ass plumber story. So a customer told me that he heard an animal dying in his walls for a
Why is
couple
it all
days, and
animals
eventually
dying?
it stopped screaming. And after it stopped screaming, all of his whole house started backing up. So he assumed that a raccoon crawled in the vent on the top of his house and just fell down and died inside there.
Happens a lot.
So I had to pull the toilet, and I put my my machine, down inside the drain, and I cabled through it. And when I pulled it back, there was just fur and intestines and viscera wrapped around it, and it was disgusting. I've seen a lot of horrible things, but that made me feel real bad. Oh, that's all, I guess.
What was it?
Oh, I don't know.
What was down there? I've never heard of many animals getting stuck in your plumbing, right?
Yeah, I've heard the mouse or rat thing,
I guess, yeah, that could happen.
And we had a rat that was chewing through some of our irrigation at my old house. The old one down the street here.
Yeah.
And it like ruined some pipes and stuff like that. I don't know. I think rodents aren't they typically looking for a water source?
Yeah, they'll chew through anything
Yeah.
to get the water.
So
or
I
whatever.
think that's like a thing, but yeah, plumber, that's a hard gig.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a hard gig.
because it's manual labor mixed with doo doo. So
That's manual doo-doo.
yeah.
His
And-
name was Manuel Doodoo.
Yeah, Manuel doo-doo.
Now, although, like, I would rather stick towards plumber because, like, electrician, because I'm not that vigilant or I don't pay attention that much, and I know that if I was an electrician, I'll kill myself
yeah.
by accident because I,
That's one of the
forgot
only
to
ones
do
that
the
scares
procedure.
me. Yeah, like plumbing stuff doesn't scare me, but
Well,
but
that's the worst that
electricity
could happen.
scares
Yeah.
the
Get some
hell out of me.
doo-doo on you.
Yeah, dude. Or it's like if you're doing something wrong, you flood a customer's house. I guess there's catastrophe that could happen, but at least I won't kill myself. Which I feel like when I hear Concrete Mike tell stories about he's cutting some bands inside like fortified concrete that are under a certain amount of tension. If he does it wrong, he'll be instantly killed. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like
crazy.
Like
I don't want that job. Yeah.
I don't want to have the stress of making sure I'm doing it right, and if I do the wrong thing and the wrong procedure, that I'm gonna kill myself by accident. I don't want to leave it up to myself to live.
Yeah, we get it. You don't trust yourself.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Because then constantly every day I'll be like, man,
Today could be the day.
Yeah, because I better paying attention at all times is horrible.
That's not your thing. That's not your thing. Let's take a break, and we'll come back with more corporate time right after this.